wonderful idea of Vice Chancellor Garu to make this exclusively for the research scholars of this university. 550 people have registered according to my information. However, I don't know. Not many have seen yesterday and today also, probably because of their preoccupations in their laboratories or in their work when they are part-time, they must be working elsewhere. India has gone through several stages. A culture which was looked upon by the world as one of the greatest cultures, invaded by people to know the knowledge from here, get the knowledge from here, and probably learn the culture from here, see the wealth, and probably take the wealth away. After it has been done, there's a rejuvenation, and it took nearly 75 years, and even now our task is unfinished. Our task is unfinished in several ways. We have not yet got the equality that the Constitution wanted in all the aspects, probably in terms of the social aspects as well as the education and healthcare and other things. But when the situation demands, we had proof time and again. And that proof is proof enough. Our culture still retains the inner metal. The inner metal of whatever we want, we will be able to achieve. As Vivekananda has been rightly saying, it's most important that the character. Once you build up the character, our youth are second to none. Our talent is second to none. Other countries have realized and tapped the potential of our people, whereas we have been dormant. Okay, with this few words, I think there are two people to be really remembered on this day. And the person who said, no power is as costly as no power. This was a slogan he had to tell at a time when people started saying that atomic energy is going to be costly, investment is going to be costly. Yes, it can be costly, but can you be without power? At that time, this is the most important thing. So, the time when he chose was the time, the Second World War. He could not go back to UK. He went to Bangalore, Sir C.V. Raman's lab. He sat there and he prepared a draft document of 3-phase power program for our India. Yesterday only we talked about his earlier commitment to physics. He was a mechanical engineer. His father wanted him to be a mechanical engineer. He said, Father, I want to be a physicist. Now go and prove yourself. Get your first rank in your mechanical engineering. Then I'll allow you to do physics. And he did that. He came back. He said, I got my first rank in my mechanical engineering. Now I want to do physics. Father said, yes, go ahead. That's how he was in the UK doing his particle physics. But then the World War II came and he had to be in India and he could not go back. That was the time when he was in Bangalore making the draft for our atomic power program. It's a 3-phase power program meticulously followed even today by our department. Look at the visionary. I think you all should clap for the visionary approach of the whole law. He understood the resources. We had limited uranium resources, but we had plenty of thorium resources. How can we do this? Then he has devised this, saying that initially we have this uranium reactors, then develop enough plutonium, run the reactors in the fast breeder mode, and then go for thorium-based reactors, which will perennially giving for 500 years without depending on any other power for this country. It's long to go, miles to go before we really achieve that, but still it's a commitment and we have made the commitment. We're going to go ahead. Then comes today's hero for this session, for the first lecture at least, Dr. A. Swarnandhra. He is a physicist from Banaras Hindu University. Before that, let me be proud. He comes from West Godavari district, my district. And so I need one more parry from all of you that let us be proud that we is Telugu person from this land, from this place. And so that way, sorry, Mogal. Tanuku, Mogal is his native place, Tanuku. So that's only for a momentary thing. We are all Indians and Jai Bharat. So what I'm saying is that he was a physicist and he was identified by none other than Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan Garu, who has encouraged him to go to Stanford to do his engineering, electrical engineering. And when he came back, he met Baba. And that time, he was given the task. He was taken to TIFR and then he was asked to make the kind of thing. And when atomic energy establishment Bombay came, our first reactor, Apsara reactors complete instrumentation was his responsibility as electronics group director. And then it was within 1 year. Imagine when we have so many facilities, so many laboratories, and so many institutions, we are struggling to probably make some devices and do. Those are the days when that thing was available. Yesterday, we have seen that space program, how it started with a small rocket taken by rickshaw, I mean, the cycle. And then one church place was given, and that was used to Tumba. Okay. So, similar situations, these people have built by brick of programs. And the strength has been that our indigenization. First of all, there was no other scope to buy from outside. So that necessity made them to go back. So we had the talent, we had the brain and the commitment, the will, and then it has gone. When we were going very strong in this developing of the programs, we had a lot of collaborations, wonderful collaborations, but then there was a compulsion. There were countries who had nuclear devices with them, nuclear weapons with them, but they were forcing other countries not to go for it. And India was wanting to maintain its independence, and also our nearest neighbor, if he has got a nuclear weapon, it's necessary for us to have a deterrent device with us, but with a policy of no first use. Ours is a Panchashila Siddhantam, you know that. Okay? So we follow ethics, we follow rules, and we decided to have one only to deter, not to detonate. Please remember. And so that's how we have tested our first nuclear device in 1974. What happened next was the entire cooperation was stopped. The cooperation was stopped to the advantage of this country in one sense, to the disadvantage of the people who were working at that point of time in another sense. And just suddenly when something stops, your power is stopped, everything is off, you have to start now wiring everything and then start making another small generator and start working. That kind of situation. I'm just only giving you an analogy, not exactly like that. Okay, that's how things happen. And it just happened. And that was the time our will to build our own things is the first thing to give you that kind of. Dr. A.S. Rao was given the task of making this ECIL, and you know that ECIL has made the kind of instrumentation needed for this country and given the electronics and instrumentation momentum to this country. And that's another visionary. So his task, he was such a humble, so down to the earth person. Once he was traveling in a bus post after his retirement, and he was asking the conductor, please tell me when the A.S. Swarnandhra comes. Please tell me when the A.S. Swarnandhra comes. So, because he was asking several times, the conductor was telling, sir, I will tell you, don't worry, please sit, you don't get tense like that. After he got down, a person came to the conductor and told, do you know who the person is? And conductor said, I don't know. He is A.S. Rao. So, on his name, that Nagar was made, that the area was named, and he never assumed that kind of thing. That's the kind of that humbleness. And Professor Surya Bhagantam, they were all together, and Surya Bhagantam and others, they were in Puttaparthi area where they were lying on the floor when they had been in the ashram. So these are the people who built our science and technology edifice, the kind of the base of that. And we are here at that stage where today in the colleges and universities, I am not seeing science people. I'm saying this with a heavy heart because very rarely I attend such kind of seminars. I work for my school, my college, my library in my native place. I've decided to go and only be there in my native place. Only when Narsavara like people call me. And today it just happened that I have two nice, close people here on the occasion, and so I cannot miss it. So I just thought, okay, I'll be here. Otherwise, I'm only with schools, colleges, and libraries. I'm wondering where our country is going. Yesterday, somebody spoke about package. Somebody spoke about agriculture. That agriculture is a joke, but I'm saying for the bureaucracy, agriculture is the problem. And for youth, the package culture is the problem. If only all these people whom I have spoken about right now, Bhava, Straw, and other great stalwarts, Surya Bhagantam, and so on and so forth, people decided only on terms of money, they could have been everywhere elsewhere, and India would not have had this kind of focus. So we need to have that commitment, and that commitment has to be inculcated to the children right at the early stages. Importance of science, importance of technology has to be told, and you are the right audience, I would say, being research scholars, all of you must be in the teaching professions at some point of time, and then even our departments require people who are talented. Though the government salaries can be low, but sure enough, government programs are important. Atomic energy program cannot be carried out by a private people. And to be honest, all these big programs have got internal indigenous training programs also, which means that if your university education is not adequate, we have to generate all the required basic inputs again from the people who have been selected. They have been selected because they are good, their analytical abilities are good, their basic abilities are good, and they can be molded. This molding will be done by training programs. After the training programs are done, they will be continuously put to tests. Every promotion is with an interview and then their ability. That's how. It's not easy to raise to the extent of a director of a center. That means he has gone through so many iterations of testing. And that's the kind of a thing. So this kind of a culture has been developed in our departments, atomic energy, space. Yesterday we had departments, various other departments also, food technology, all kinds of technology. So these many departments are there. Please be aware that so many departments are there looking for talented people, committed people, and then enthuse your students, children to get into this kind of thing. Research is important, technology is important, and all the more the truth. Research means pursuing truth. We should follow the kind of character, ethics, everything in that. Of late, I'm seeing very disturbing trends. I'm sorry, sir, I'm taking a little more time, but I got an opportunity to talk to some research scholars, so I'm speaking. What I'm saying is that the trend is that proxy rating. Yesterday, sir told, don't go by chat GPT. Chat GPT can give you so many things, but then you have to use your mind and brain. And what you want to tell, whether it may give you the language, it may give you the word, technical term. If I'm forgetting some technical term, it may give you that. But it will not be translating exactly what is in your heart. Similarly, proxy rating, because your English may not be good, you ask somebody else to prepare and then the whole thing you submit it directly. Please, never enter. If it is not your work, don't ever claim that. Ethics are very important, and that's what is most important. And before children, I tell parents also, before children, you tell something and do something, the children will watch your character, your observation. They will not listen to whatever I tell in the school, whatever I tell in the library. No, they'll see you. You be inside and tell that I'm not there to a child, he is going to learn that. So India is at a crisis, not because of anything else, only because our culture is now having a small degradation that we have to build up, and only through institutions like education institutions, and we have to do that. Okay. Now, I think I have just only 2 more minutes. I'll talk about this session. We are going to talk about energy, and energy is very important. As we joined the department, we used to be given one graph which talks about human development, quality of life versus per capita energy consumption. As long as this graph is concerned, it shows this kind of rising, exponentially raising initial part and then a plateauing. This initial part is something to tell that if you increase your per capita consumption by a small amount, your quality of life will improve by a large amount. You must have seen that, definitely. Once you have a comfortable power coming continuous power, you have an AC, you have a fan, everything, so your quality of life, that it's a direct simple analogy I'm talking about. So, but after some time, it gets a plateau. So that's the waste. We have to, like, one starter was asked, would you want your country to be a superpower? Then Tataji told immediately that, saying that I would like to my country to be a happy country. So our aim will be to be happy country, where the maximum point where the per capita energy consumption comes to the extent of giving the maximum quality of life. That's good enough for us. Even to reach that level, our energy resources were not sufficient. This was what our initial time, and atomic energy is one of the options, inevitable option, and so that's how we were all made to be committable to that. I'm very happy today that what we thought once fossil fuels are going to be inescapable for quite some time, and then non-fossil fuels will not be so easily overtaken. Today, India is at a stage where non-fossil fuels also are coming equally towards the fossil fuels, and credit goes to our next speaker, when he comes and he will speak about it. Now coming to today's first talk, AS Memorial Lecture being given by Dr. P. Venkatraman. I have my words to say before I read his autobiography. He's out and out an indigenous product of our agriculture, I would say. His father was working in our department and he was in our Kalpakkam. Yes, Kalpakkam, and he studied in atomic energy school initially, and I'm again feeling very happy because it was our home. Kalpakkam was our home for quite many years, and again, like A.S. Raoji, he was a physicist initially, and after he came into the department, he was turned into material scientist and then probably into even instrumentation engineer because he was dealing with non-destructive evaluation techniques. And so that qualifies him to be none other than the best person to give you this kind of a lecture on AS Memory lecture. And Dr. B. Venkatraman is a PhD and BSc honors, is a distinguished scientist and the DAE Homi Setna Chair at the Department of Atomic Energy. And he's also senior professor of our Homi Bhabha National Institute. It's now the Deep University of our department. And he formerly served as the director of Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, a specialist in nuclear materials characterization, and advanced non-destructive evaluation. His work spans the nuclear sector and strategic programs, including quality assurance and materials support to the defense and space sectors, and also non-invasive applications in heritage sites and archaeometry. He has authored and co-authored books, technical reports, and numerous research papers, has guided doctoral and postgraduate researchers, and has delivered keynote invited plenary lectures at national and international conferences. His awards and honors include DIE Awards for Individual Excellence, Homi Bhabha Award in the year 2007, the Lifetime Achievement Award of the Indian Society for Non-Destructive Testing 2022, the Outstanding Contribution Award 2025 of the American Society of Non-Destructive Testing, ASNT, India section, Honorary Fellowship of Indian Society for Non-Destructive Testing, Fellowship of the Chennai Academy of Sciences, an honorary DSc from Geetam University. He is passionate about public engagement. He initiated the Anu Yatra outreach program at IGCR in collaboration with Vigyan Bharati Arabian Sangam, and he was recently conferred with honorary fellowship of the Association of Science and Technology Center for contributions to science communications. With these few words, may now request our first plenary lecturer, Dr. B. Venkatraman, to start his.
Now I request our colleague Gautami to welcome Venkatraman sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
A very good morning to all of you, distinguished dignitaries of the dais, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of JNTUK, Dr. Prasad Garu, Vice Chancellor University, Dr. Nasirao Garu, the organizing secretaries for this particular event, Dr. Krishna Prasad Garu, ASTC. I was really fortunate to come in contact with him today. He has provided me with a number of platforms. Dr. Nasirao Garu, APSC, Dr. Ramana Garu, and my senior in the Department of Atomic Energy, both subject-wise and batch-wise, Dr. Swarnandhra, and all the faculties, students, researchers who are assembled here. A very good morning to all of you. So I thought, okay, I will start with a small sort of what we call background, a question to the audience. But I think Dr. Subbarao Garu has given an excellent overview about the department, about ECIL, etc. So, my talk today will focus on the role of electronics and instrumentation technology in the second stage nuclear power program. I'll just touch upon it because I think I have about 40 minutes. So, I would like to have more amount of questions from you, on as Dr. Subbarao Garu indicated, on the possibilities of being associated with the Department of Atomic Energy. You can talk next. Incidentally, I always say that DAE is one of the most visionary departments. The three departments, DAE, DRDO, of course, DOS I always consider as part of DAE because it started from the Department of Atomic Energy and when it mutated to a bigger size, it got bifurcated from the Department of Atomic Energy and the Department of Space and of course the CSA. These are the pillars, you can say four institutions, are the pillars of science, technology, and engineering in the country, which have definitely contributed to better quality of life for many of us here. So this is going to be the structure of my talk. Next slide. So I wanted to start the lecture with this particular slide. As any of you heard about AS Ravanagar, Dr. Subbarao had already indicated. Yeah, yes. So today, wonderful. I'm very happy that many of you have heard about this particular nagar. Very rarely places are named after giants who have served the country. Visionary giant, Dr. Ayagani Samasiva, one such person. Next slide. Was the founding director of Electronics Corporation of India Limited. So I will just supplement what Dr. Subbarao had indicated about the life of Dr. A.S. Rao. In fact, he was born in a very humble family on 20th September 1940, and in fact, he was from a very humble family. For his education, his mother had to, pledge her ornaments to make him study. And practically all his education was sustained through scholarships. So he did his master's from BHU, master's in physics, from BHU. Then he, at that time, I'm talking about the 1940s, Tata had a very good program where they used to take very bright students from different institutions, give them sponsorships and make them go abroad and do higher studies. So he was chosen by the Tata Foundation and he got an opportunity to do MS in Stanford University. And when he came back to India, Dr. Baba spotted it and then asked him to join him. So he joined the research establishment, atomic energy establishment in India at that time. And he was working on cosmic ray experiments, which Baba was very passionate about. Baba had some failures in that particular phase one of the experiment. And when Dr. A.S. Rao joined him, he turned it to be a success. Dr. Baba was very happy and invited him to join as a research professional in the department. Subsequently, as has been indicated, Dr. A.S. Rao, he utilized his what you call wisdom, his knowledge to design the first reactor Apsara in the country in 1953. And within a year, it was built. 1955, it was commissioned. 55, 56, it was commissioned. And that made India, every country in the world to look up to India, because India was the first South Asian country to put up a reactor at that particular point of time. Subsequently, he went on to design and control for Canadian Indian reactor or utility cycles. And he was heading electronics division in Baba Atomic Research Center, which was about 1,600 people. And when India faced its defeat in the 1962 war and the Indo-China war, the government sat up to think that, yes, we should do something about electronics and instrumentation. We cannot rely on the external world, the Western powers or any other powers, and make us dependent on this critical area. So we woke up. A committee was formed with Dr. Baba as the chairman, with Dr. Bhagavatam as one of the members, and Dr. Sarabhai, and of course Dr. A.S. Rao. And this committee came up with a report that there should be an institution which is totally dedicated to indigenization of electronics and instrumentation that can serve the vital organizations in the country, like the defense, the space, nuclear, and also society. And it was in 1967 that Electronics Corporation of India was limited, was founded. So this is just a small sort of, a brief history about Dr. A.S. Rao, and he was really a visionary person. Visionary in the sense that who not only founded an institute, but gave them a very broad canvas on which they can work upon and serve the country. So you can see today, his strategic vision was that electronics is not a commodity to be purchased, but as a nation, we should have the capability to design, qualify, and manufacture it in the country. In fact, this has been the principle of the Department of Atomic Energy, that we should always go indigenous. And you will see that at every point of time, we have had challenges, we have listened up to the challenges. Sometimes we might have slipped in the targets, but at the end, we have delivered. So, Instrumentation Foundation, not only within BAE in the country, was made here. And for this recognition, for this work, he was honored with Padma Shri and Padma Vibhushan, the top awards of the country. So ECIL was established in 1967 April, and it was primarily to bridge the knowledge, production, qualification, and the infrastructure of critical systems, serve the strategic sectors, and build national competence in this particular area. So the basic idea was science should not stop just in the laboratory, but it should get transformed to meet the aspirations of the society. And today, what is the status of ECIL? It is a mini Ratna company, and it is a multi-product, multidisciplinary, strategic electronics company which serves the nation in practically all aspects like nuclear, defense, aerospace, security, IT and e-governance, and if you take society, public life, the voting machines. I come from Tamil Nadu. Today, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu is taking up the vote. So the voting machines are being made by the electronics corporation. That has been the vision of today's club. Founded it, who was there till around 1978 as its managing director, saw through many of the programs which today, if today, instrumentation and technology, which is considered as the backbone of a nuclear reactor, is very sound. The credit goes to this visionary gentleman who founded this, and this lecture is a tribute to this level. So let me come to electronics and instrumentation is modern scenario. Today, practically all aspects of life are such practical that unfortunately, if you take many institutions today, the number of candidates in this particular discipline is dwindling. Many are more attracted towards computer science rather than the core disciplines. But please don't forget the fact that in the years to come, in the days to come, India would need the core disciplines more than this particular, than it also needs. I'm not saying that it doesn't need, it also needs, but core disciplines would be needed in a larger way, and it would have a lot of possible. So these are not going into the details. Today, there are the number of areas where E&I has become very critical. From macro level, it has not gone, it has gone down to micro level and at the nano level, and things are expanding today. AI has now come into it, and along with AI, a number of possibilities are there. So what is Amritka? This is a slide which has been taken from the Department of Atomic Energy, Amritka vision of 2047. So what is the Amritka vision for DCIL? So you can see here the various areas in which they would like to continue, diversify, and make a mark in the years to come when we talk of Viksit Bharat 2040. So coming back to my department, from where I had about 40 years of having the opportunity to serve this department. Department of Atomic Energy has multiple mandates. The primary mandate, of course, is producing nuclear power, which is through the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. But apart from that, PA has pioneered many things in the country. If you talk about nuclear medicine in the healthcare sector, it is a department which has been primarily responsible to introduce this discipline in the country. And today, through the Tata Memorial Hospital, which is one of the aided institutions of the Department of Atomic Energy, today cancer care is one of the things which has been focused upon in a very large way. Today, we are producing regular pharmaceuticals within the country, trying to see that we reduce our exports. And the Board of Radiation and Isotope Technology is doing a commendable aspect in this particular. And they are also exporting to the Asian nations and others, earning a revenue of more than a few hundred crores. Now, in the field of agriculture, radiation plays a very vital role. Not many of people know that through the use of radiation, we can slightly modify and then produce better crop varieties which are drought resistant, pest resistant. And the department has today produced about 72 varieties of crops in association with the various universities and institutions. And the latest being a small farmer variety of banana, which will withstand the storm or the cyclones, which normally destroys acres of banana, in fact, in many parts of the country. So in the field of agriculture, again, good preservation is one area where radiation can play a very large role. The mangoes which are exported to USA or Europe are mandatory to be, irradiated with radiation because they don't want chemical purification. Radiation destroys the pathogen, helps to extend the shelf life, and in that way it is very good, and it doesn't alter the taste. A common feeling is the moment radiation is there, it may alter the taste. No, the tastes are not altered. Now are the properties. So it's a very safe way today. Ginger, mangoes, turmeric, which are being exported from India, are all subjected to radiation, and they kill all the pests and extend the life. Food grains can be irradiated to extend the shelf life. For vegetables like potato and onion can be, irradiated to extend the shelf life. Why are we not doing it within the country? It will help us to reduce the bacteria, the pathogens which are with it. You take a chili, you keep it for 1 month in your house. You will see that at the end of a month, flies will be there because there are small eggs which are there in this, which hatch after a period of time. All these things will get killed because of radiation. So radiation is a very potential tool in the field of agriculture, food preservation, food processing, etc. I'll give you a small example of what we had the opportunity to work in this particular area. The fourth at Vikasit Center for Atomic Research. A fourth standard farmer from Pondicherry, whom his family considered to be of no use. They told him that you are of no use. You please do what you want. He's a fourth standard farmer. He went to MS Swarnandhra Research Institute. So there they told him, why don't you think of using radiation and trying to do something in agriculture? So what he did, he used the flower Swarnandhra. In Tamil, we call it as Kanakambram. It is one of the flowers that is given to Tirumala Tirupati Devata for adorning the Lord Balaji. So he used Swarnandhra, used radiations, and produced more than 30 different varieties, different colors. And these were planted in the Mughal gardens of Rashtrapati Bhavan, then of Abdul Kalam. I'm very happy they gave this book to me. I have a very fond association. Not only with him, I continue the association with their with Dr. Kalam's what do you call relations also, his brothers, son also, Dr. Salim, etc., who are taking care of the first there. Now, so it was planted there. And we did the irradiation at Kalpakam when I was there as Associate Director of Health and Safety Group. We gave him a letter of recommendation, and the fourth standard farmer got Padma Shri Award. And the most important thing is he made a statement. He is very passionate. After that, he has produced many, what we call Casuarina, Gova, which he has used radiation and then he has produced it. We have helped him also. So when he likes to come to Kalpakam, so on one of the occasions, he told participants, I did not have 30
Hello.
rupees when I started my career.
Hello.
Today, radiation has made me earn roughly about 30 crores. He exports the flowers.
Hello.
That's the
Apsilon
potential of it. What I want to
Hello,
convey
Apsilon
here is today we need to think multidisciplinary. All of us need to think multidisciplinary. And these approaches will definitely make us unique and successful in life. So, like this, Department of Atomic Energy has varied applications, and he has already talked about the three-stage program. Right in the 1940s, Baba had the vision to think of the energy resources, energy security for the nation based on the affordable resources. I normally say that energy security or the energy basket of a country is like a human health. What do I mean by it? If I need to be healthy, I need carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and all of these things should be in balanced proportions. Now, if I have to have all these things, it should also be possible for me to afford it. It should be possible for me to afford it. I cannot think of being a common man. Vitamins, minerals are very much available in almonds, pistas. I may not be able to afford it. I can go in for smaller ones like peanuts, etc., which are much more affordable for me. Similarly, when I talk about the energy basket of a country, I can have solar, I can have wind, I can have hydro, I can have the fossil fuels, I can have nuclear, I can have a variety of it. But I should also realize the fact that it should be affordable for me. Today, all of us in a situation where you know that the oil, which is one of the basic energy sources, has to be imported. So I need the oil for the kitchen, for running my transport, etc. I cannot afford to divert. So what should be the energy basket of India? Energy basket of India. India has the largest, fifth largest coal reserves in the world. It has the largest thorium reserves in the country. And we have a huge potential for solar. Wind, yes, of course, but it occupies a lot of that. It depends on the vagaries of monsoon, wind and hydro. But I need a stable, base load supply which can be given only by the fossil fuels like thermal, coal, nuclear or hydro. Solar has done excellently well. In fact, it has complemented to a very large extent the energy needs of the country in the last decade, and it will continue to do so. So I should think of, and if you take the greenhouse gas emissions, everybody is talking about net zero, climate change. What is it because? It is because of the greenhouse gas emissions. And these gas emissions are primarily coming from the fossil fuels, primarily the thermal. So I need to reduce my thermal component, but it still has to continue. It is very essential for the country. I need to increase my nuclear component. So I need to have a basket where I have a balanced proportion of thermal, nuclear, which will form the base load, topped by solar, which needs to be at a very high level, wind, and of course all the other geothermal sources, etc. So with this vision, India has embarked on a three-stage nuclear program formulated by Baba, where the first stage is based on pressurized heavy water reactors using natural uranium. We have in our country modest natural uranium sources of the order of around 1 lakh tons of uranium. So I will be using that in the first stage to generate plutonium-239, which is the fuel for the second stage. And using this plutonium, I will be able to generate more plutonium and more uranium-233 from the large reserves of thorium which is available in the monazite sands of Kerala, Odisha, etc., Tamil Nadu, etc. So my third stage will entirely focus on advanced reactors which are based on uranium, thorium, fuel cycle. And if you see today, we can be proud of the fact that India has a very mature phase one program. We have an installed capacity of about 8,780 megawatts from 24 reactors operating successfully with a capacity utilization factor of more than 80%. In fact, NPCIL has set a record for operating many of its reactors for a very long period of time, and some of these reactors have created a world record for operating more than about 900 days also. So we have 7 more reactors under construction, which will give us about, it will take us to about 30 to 23 gigawatts by about 2032, and by 2047, India aims to have 100 gigawatts through the nuclear program. And the second stage of the nuclear power program is the fast breeder reactors. Again, when all the countries had stopped the fast reactor program, India was the only country that had taken up this challenge and initiated this. Again, thanks to the vision of Dr. Sarabhai. Though Dr. Baba had thought about this, Dr. Sarabhai was the one who gave it a sort of vision, a reality, and he signed the orders for the formation of Reactor Research Center, the present Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Alpaca, way back in April 30th, 1971. And this vision of Baba, which has been translated by Dr. Sarabhai, has seen the reality of the day. Today, we have the FBTR, fast breeder test reactor, operating successfully at its rated capacity of 40 megawatts thermal and producing electricity. It has produced more than about 200 million units of electricity as of date, operating successfully. And we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat today, but department had a vision that all the reactors should be indigenous. So this particular reactor, when it was envisaged as a collaboration between India and France, they decided that 80% of the components here will be produced in India. Not only that, this work started way back in the 1970s. 1974, we had a peaceful nuclear explosion, and all the countries stopped supporting us in our nuclear venture. I couldn't get even a single screw till a few years back, 2 or 3 years back. Only now it has been raised a bit. I cannot get even a single screw from any of the Western, US, Europe, etc. And this reactor was in collaboration with France. And we had thought that France will give us a fuel. But the moment of this peaceful nuclear explosion occurred, France stopped the support. And we had to be on our own. So our scientists rose up to the occasion and designed the first carbide fuel in the entire world. When all the countries had stopped working on carbide fuel, afraid of facing the challenges of manufacturing it, because It's highly pyrophoric. Handling it is very difficult. He took up this challenge. He formulated, he designed at Baba Atomic Research Center the carbide fuel 8384, the first batch of carbide fuel came. Today, this fuel has created a world record operating for about 1,65,000 megawatt days without a failure. And that is because of all the scientists, engineers, and of course the instrumentation and control provided by
పైన
electronics
పైన
company.
రిసీవర్ తగిలించుంది కదా
So,
ఎందుకు
Kalpa, I always say,
Receiver
is
alagane.
a very unique place
Danko
in the entire world. In the world, nuclear energy through the fission process
You know,
can be
Michael-
achieved only using three
Yeah.
isotopes: uranium-235, plutonium-239, and uranium-233. And all these three types of reactors are there
నేను
only
తీసినప్పుడు
in Kalpa.
మా కరెంట్ మైక్ తీసి
No
కాల్
other
మైక్
place in
తీయలేదు
the
నన్ను
world. We have the Madras Atomic Power Station, the first indigenous reactor in the country utilizing natural uranium. We have the far bigger test reactor utilizing plutonium-239. And we have a very small reactor, just within half the size of this room, called as Kalpana reactor. It was commissioned way back in 1996. 550 grams of uranium-233 was put as a fuel. Even today it is working. And mind you, this particular reactor has been used for many applications. Many institutions, academic institutions have collaborations. They do the environmental activity sample analysis using this particular reactor, using neutron activation analysis, where trace element analysis to ppb level is possible. And this reactor has been used to qualify more than 2 lakh devices, pyro devices, which have gone to the first PSLV, GSLV satellites, space vehicles, which had been produced by DSSC. It was qualified here, it used to be taken to Silicon, integrated, and then it used to be said. Today, we had, in collaboration with DSSC, a small neutron facility has been developed at DSSC also, and we are doing it now there. Okay. So, yeah, okay. The electronics and instrumentation forms the central nervous system of a nuclear reactor. And today, all the pressurized heavy water reactors, the fast reactors, the entire electronics and instrumentation is primarily by ECI. And you see that we say that the eyes, the nerves, the brain, the reflexes are all based on EMF. What do I mean by that? In a reactor, I need to monitor the neutrons that are essential for making the reactor work or sustain the critical chain reaction. I need to monitor the temperature, which is a very critical parameter, because any accident means the temperature will rise, and if I don't monitor it properly, then I have it. So temperature monitoring, flow monitoring, pressure monitoring, and all these sensors are based on DNN, and this again radiation measurements. So these are the eyes in the reactor. What are the nerves? The signal conditioning, the data acquisition, communications, again, are all based on frequency. And the brain, which controls the entire control console of the reactor, which controls all these parameters and makes the reactor work in a sustainable, safe manner, is the brain, which is a central control unit. And we have all the protections, the scram systems, which are there. In the event of an accident, it will help us to shut down the reactor in a very safe manner. So DNI, we always say, is the critical nervous system for a reactor. And when we talk of the second stage, the prototype, the fast breeder test reactor, which is now operating successfully, based on the experience gained in this particular reactor, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research had taken up a very challenging task of designing a 500 megawatt prototype fast breeder reactor. We call it as the mighty Hanuman leap. This I have not coined it. This was told by George Vendrias, the father of the French fast reactor program, when he came to Kalpata in 2006. So this, he said, India has embarked on this. I don't know whether, I'm sure they will succeed, but this is like a giant Hanuman's leap. When Hanuman took off for the first time in search of Sita from the shores of, you can say, Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka. It was like 100 knots he had to jump, and nobody knew what would be the obstacles. Yes, he had faced obstacles, and during the commissioning of the prototype fast breeder reactor, which is the first of its kind technology in the country, and today this would be the commercial reactor next to Russia operating in the entire world when it goes commercial. Now, I am just giving you the complexity of the reactor. You see here, the entire thing is submerged in sodium. We have 1100 tons of sodium here, and these are all very slender components which are thin walled and which have been fabricated to micron level tolerances by the Indian industries, Indian giants. And in many cases, the department had to handhold. This was being designed by Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research and built by Bharati Vidyut Nigam Limited. With the support from Bhava Atomic Research Center, ECIL, Nuclear Fuel Complex, etc., and many other institutions, and many other institutions. So, and more than about 200 industries, many of the industrial giants like BHEL, LNT, Swarnandhra, Kirloskar Brothers, MPAR in Hyderabad, Avasarla, they have all participated in making this, including more than about 100 MSMEs have participated in this. And in this process of participation, many of the industries have gained technological advantages that what you call their levels have increased that in such a way that they could participate for international competitive bidding for manufacturing components. Internationally, a classical example is L&T backed the order for cryostat of ITER project, which is roughly you can say more than about $1 billion project in which about 34 countries are participating. Inox in Gujarat has got an order based on its capability. And all these have been made possible because they were able to manufacture these sort of critical components and raise up the industrial, what we call, expectations also. So here again, this, in all these cases, if you see, INC plays a very crucial role because the challenges for INC in a second thing, a sodium cooled reactor is they have to see, we have an opaque coolant. I cannot see through sodium. So I need to have sensors that can visualize what is happening under the sodium. Now, the temperature of sodium would be of the order of around 400 to 500 degrees. So I need to have instrumentation which can serve in this particular environment and for a long period of time, about 40 years. Neutrons. Normally, in a conventional power plant, like a thermal power plant, I only have the temperature and the pressure. But here we have an additional component of fast neutrons, which can degrade the mechanical capabilities. Because when neutrons bombard any material, changes take place, damage takes place. So it can deteriorate the component. So it has to operate in this particular spectrum. And last, it should not have the failure probability. It should not fail at all. So this is really a challenge which has been met by our scientists and engineers across the country. And here I thought that, okay, this is the flow diagram. The heat that is produced in the reactor is taken up through sodium, and any reactor is a multidisciplinary effort. I come to that particular part. I'm emphasizing this multidisciplinary because this is one of the most prestigious universities in the country, a university which is more than 75 years old and having practically all the disciplines. And I think they can definitely contribute. And there have been many seniors in our group and earlier also from this particular university. So what has been ECIL's contribution? I'm not going to go through. So I just, you can see here, this will be available, I can take it. So these are some of the areas where ECIL has contributed to the prototype fast reactor, which has just gone critical. One of the most distinguished features of this particular reactor is it is called as a breeder reactor. What do I mean by breeder? It can breed more fuel than what it consumes. So what I do is, in the first stage of nuclear power program, the uranium-238, which is normally discarded as a waste by other countries, is put into this particular reactor. So when neutrons bombard it, it gets converted to plutonium-239. Now, after 2 to 3 years, I will use thorium and place it as a blanket. So I will be producing uranium-230. So I will be producing more fuel than what I consume. So this is a novelty, uniqueness in this particular reactor. So these are the various INC systems that have been, and today, if you see, for the nuclear case, these are the various contributions of ECIL, which ranges from simple radiation detectors to the most complicated simulator systems where all the engineers who are going to operate the power plants are going to get trained. So such is the complexity of the INC systems which are being manufactured by ECL. Now coming back to the institution where I have served for about 40 years. We, both of us, are from the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam. This is a multidisciplinary institution where we have roughly about 2,300 scientists, engineers, technologists, technical staff, and administrative staff today, and it is multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, I should say. We have reactor design, which is primarily dominated by the mechanical engineers, but it also has physicists who support them in all the code calculations, code physics analysis, etc. We have the pathway of the technology again, which is a combination of mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronics and instrumentation engineers, etc. We have a dedicated group on electronics and instrumentation, which focuses on all these aspects, whatever I have talked about, which is primarily dominated by E&I engineers. We have a health safety and environment group where the physicists play a greater role for radiation surveillance, radiation safety, but we have chemists. We have the environmental people, biodiversity people. Kalpakkam is one of the places where you have an excellent biodiversity. And to say that radiation is safe, a simple example is its effect on environment. Within the DA complex at Kalpakkam, there we have 5 units: the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, 2 power plants, the prototype transmitter reactor, Madras Atomic Power Station, and of course other units. I have, including waste management, I have roughly about 180 species of birds which have been documented by us in collaboration with Salim Ali Institute of Ornithology and Tropics. If radiations were so deleterious or coming out in a large way, I would not have such a wide biodiversity. And we have more than 60 species of butterflies in the campus. It is worth visiting that particular campus. So I have a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary composition, and we can say that all these are essential for the successful operation of a reactor. And just to give you a glimpse of the various activities, we do a number of simulation analysis, and it is here that we also collaborate with academic institutions, because academic institutions have a fundamental knowledge. We are applied people, and you can definitely handle that in many of the novel calculation simulations. Okay? I see the reliable performance of the component over a long time, and then I embark on manufacturing, technology development, etc. So similarly, this is the design activities for the mechanical manufacturing of the components, reactor components that go into the reactor. This technology is going to be, has to be validated. I have a fast reactor technology group which primarily focuses on qualifying these components in a scaled down model. So here again, we collaborate with institutions. Either we do the scaled down model, or it can be done in an institution where, for example, I do a stress analysis and then have a scaled down model, see its performance, and then pass on the technology through IGCR, which makes the actual component based on this sort of academic inspections also. In that way, we have collaborated with a number of institutions across the countries, apart from IITs, along and NITs, etc., with a number of other universities. Also, we have collaborated, and we have developed a lot of instrumentation devices, mechanical components, modeling, simulation, etc. Again, sodium instrumentation, remote handling is one area where which is very much needed in the Department of Atomic Energy. So we have made small robotic devices, because many of our plants, like the reprocessing plant, I'll just touch upon it. I cannot enter inside once it is commissioned. So I need small robots, robotic devices to do my job. So that is being done. And here we have collaborated again with a number of universities and industries also in making it up. In fact, many startups have also involved. So like this, we have the various things, and then okay, some of the recent highlights also. So this is where our electronics and instrumentation group comes. And I'm just giving you a core temperature monitoring system. So you can see the complicated nature of the core temperature monitoring system. And this is one area where I think one of our colleagues, Dr. Vikasit, has contributed a lot. This is one of the unique systems in the country that has been developed along with ISRO and many institutions. In DRNS, we had 11 institutions participating, including Andhra University, to develop this particular system. And this is the first of its kind that can predict the environmental conditions, the cyclones, the meteorological conditions, use these inputs and tell me the radiation levels in case of an accident. We use this very usefully and then Fukushima happened in Japan. Many of the people from Japan, they called us, they asked us whether the radiation plume will be traveling. And today, this is one of the state-of-art systems. And I feel that universities should have this because it gives them a fundamental opportunity to have an R&D program in environmental science and technology. So this has been enabled. An offshoot of this is not only for radiation, we did it for chemical emergency response, and this has been what we call installed by the government of Kerala and the city of Ernakulam. Because in any case, any chemical plant has a leak, we can detect it immediately and shut it off. We will not be able to, I mean, we will not have tragedies like Bhopal, which has happened earlier. Similarly, we have developed a multi-purpose radiation monitor, which has been given for a building. It's a radio center in Visakhapatnam. And these are some of the things I thought I'll just touch upon. And all these things are, again, in collaboration with institutions. So we have a reprocessing plant. You see here, this is a very complex plant. And India is one of the few countries that has mastered the technology of reprocessing and the only country in the world to have mastered the technology of carbide fuel reprocessing. Based on this experience, this is a typical reprocessing plant where in a small room of this size, with about 5,000 meter cubed of volume, I will be having a radioactive facility in which I have about 62 kilometers of piping, small diameter piping with 1 lakh beds. All these things have to be qualified, and once I shut it and operate it, I cannot go inside. Here, robotics, mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, physicists, chemists, all electronics and instrumentation, all the disciplines find its application. And this is the first plant in the world capable of reprocessing the carbide and the oxide fuel. It was dedicated to the nation by the Honorable Prime Minister on January 2, 2024. It is operating successfully today and one of the landmark achievements for ICTAR and for DAE. And today, we also have embarked on societal applications. We are trying to produce certain isotopes which have a wide application in the society, especially for cancer care. Palliative sources like strontium-89 or phosphorus lithium-90 are being produced in the fast breeder test reactor. Some of these have been given to Board of Radiation and Isotope Technology for clinical applications. Here again, there is a good possibility for collaboration. So I will just support. I have two things I always am passionate about. We are not only doing this for our own departments, but many of our expertises have been utilized by other departments also. And I am proud of two major things. The first GSM was landing on the launch pad just 30 seconds before takeoff. The launch was aborted. And my mentor, Dr. Bharat, he got a call from Sririkota. Please come with your team to see what could be the cause for this. Because 3 of the engines developed the thrust to take off, but 1 engine did not develop the thrust. That means that the flow had been inhibited. So I was part of the team. 4 of us, me, my senior Dr. Jayakumar, and then Dr. Baldev in Kalyan event. And we had the opportunity to see this GSM standing majestically. I always tell our people that you should see 3 things in life. You should go enter into a nuclear reactor. You should be able to see a rocket on its launch pad. And you should travel in a tank like Vijay or Arjun battle tank. You will be memorable and you cherish it. At that time, you will realize the sacrifices that are being made by the scientists and engineers in these departments. So here, when we went 2 o'clock, we were taken straight up. And remember, you don't have an opportunity to go inside. You have to be outside. a compartment was opened up. There were hundreds of small lines carrying the fuel that was running around. How do you examine it? You don't have access inside, direct access. So I had the source, radioactive source on one hand. I had a radioactive, film, normal film, which I use in our medical X-rays, etc. So patiently we did carefully took radiograph of more than about 60 to 70 lines. 2 o'clock in the midnight, we got that answer. In one of the radiographs, we could see the block line very clearly. There was a two-way issue. And this block line at 6 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Late, Dr. Kasturi, Dr. Periman, there are people who are there at ISO. We had a closed door meeting. We showed them all the radiographs. The problem was identified immediately. The problem was taken up. 18 days later, GSLV took off suggesting to some higher. So this is one thing where and definitely grown off our contribution, the departmental contribution. The second is the defense, MiG-23, MiG-21, MiG-23, and the V8 and V70 helicopters, the lightest. Here, we were part of a team which comprised of DRDO people, HAL people, NAL people, etc. And we were asked to develop technology that could substitute what we call here the life assessment, which was normally being done by the Russians, and which used to take a few hundreds of crores in terms of body exchange. So we came up successfully with the technologies which was implemented in the forward bases. I had the opportunity to visit practically all the forward bases in the country. We had a protocol instituted a small lab at HAL in Nasik, at 3BRD in Chandigarh, etc. And this is one of the letters from the Headmaster to our former chairman. There you can see that it has resulted in excellent savings. Again, a thing which all of us can. It is again a joint, you can say, institutional effort cutting across all the institutions, DAE, DRDO, all these people, and public sector institutions like HAL. So again, I'm emphasizing the fact that if we are to be successful today, let us have a slightly different thinking. Let us have an interdisciplinary approach. You may be a mechanical engineer today, you may be a chemical engineer, but think slightly differently. Try to see whether I can combine with other areas of science, technology, and engineering, and definitely that will make me slightly different. And we have a UGC TAE center. All these facilities that have been created with the various institutions are all national facilities. You can use it for your research work, for your PhD, for your students, etc. We encourage a lot of students. I shouldn't say we. ICAR encourages a lot of students. Many of them come there, do their project work, etc. Many of the research faculty across the country utilize the excellent equipments that are available there in the country and then use it, and collaborations are definitely possible. And last, everybody thinks that today, if I do certain branches of engineering, my jobs are assured. But let me tell you, in organizations like DAE, DRDO, CSIR, you have excellent career prospect opportunities. Not many are aware of. And we both belong to the training school of the Baba Atomic Research Center. He is from the 25th batch, 24th batch, and I am from the 27th batch. And today it is the 69th batch or something like that that is going on. Every year, more than about 200 people are selected across the country through an entrance exam or through GATE. If you have a certain percentile above GATE, then I'm called for an interview. So after I qualify the written exam or have a percentile, I'm called for an interview. And once I get selected, I'm given a one-year-old orientation program at Baba Atomic Research Center, after which I can be placed in the various units of the Department of Atomic Energy. So the starting salary is something like 60,000 rupees. And I'm going to be placed in a township where I do not have to worry about water, electricity, and as a family, I don't have to worry about the children's education. I have excellent atomic energy central schools based on CBSE. Like in Kalpakkam, we have 5 schools. We have 3 atomic energy central schools, 2 Kendriya Vidyalayas. And incidentally, I had the opportunity to be in Hyderabad also. My father was there in NFC Nuclear Complex. And when ECL had come out in 1971, we were in Maudali. just opposite to TCIL also. So we have atomic energy central schools across where education is practically free of the highest quality. And we also have an excellent medical facility. We have what is called as CHSS, where I am covered fully even after my retirement. And not only that, if my parents had been below the economic line, they are also provided with medical care. And of course, our children also get benefited. So these are the benefits which many of us do not know elsewhere. So I would request that you have people like Dr. Subbarao nearby. Probably we can have a small sort of orientation program here in these institutions to sensitize that please try to apply to these sort of organizations. You will have an excellent career prospect and you can do your PhD. We have Homi Bhabha National Institute where you can do PhD also, or you can have a dual degree scheme where I can collaborate with institutions also. And then I can do my PhD. And apart from that, we also have postdoctoral research fellows. We also take JRFs, etc. So those who are into that final year doing MPhil, etc., or MTech, they can definitely apply for PhD. That a lot of scope exists. So I just want to highlight that here there is a possibility, and usually, normally the southern states would contribute that even then in training school, practically 60% of the trainees were from the southern institutions. We had a large number of people from this part of the country, and I feel that there is a lot of potential. It is the awareness which lacks. So I thank the VC, I thank AHCC, and I thank all the people for giving me an opportunity to share some of my thoughts. And I would mean, I also invite, as a former DAE person, all of you should visit this particular center, have a look at Kalpatham, and I'm sure that in the years to come, definitely I can see at least some of you people joining our institutions and contributing to national growth and prosperity. Thank you and Jai Hind.
It was an excellent, usable, memorable, and motivating lecture. I told you actually, it's a prodigious product of our Kalpak. I'm very proud of it. And it took me again back to my earlier days. We were all together throughout, and then there's so many slides. I could see our director's signature there. No, it's very, you just get so inspired to see that. Every day we get one note or the other. He has a habit of reading 300 mails in a day and signing and posting to various people. That's his great ability. Dr. Badera, he said he was my mentor, right? So, and I'm very happy that we all had. I don't know whether you all will have some questions or anything to ask. Yes, sir, you want to ask something. From the scholars? Anyone of you? Yeah, sir, I guess you would preference to, please, go ahead, you ask your question to Dr.
Good morning, Yoko. So myself, I'm Sriram, research scholar, EC department. Sir, my question is whether I don't know whether it's relevant over here or not, but why we are not focusing on pebble bed modular reactors?
Okay, very good question. See, India has got about 100 gigawatts to 2 gigawatts in the coming years. These need large capacity reactors. Of course, our electricity requirement is much larger. So that is why we have been focusing on the P4 of reactors, that is 700 megawatts capacity. So what is the vision of the department is about 50 gigawatts would be coming through this. 40 gigawatts would be coming through the small modular reactors or the micro modular reactors. Now, this sort of reactors would fall under that particular category. As I told you, large reactors, we also need to see the dynamics of the fuel and the reprocessing. Other countries don't think about reprocessing. They just, whatever is irradiated in the reactor, they take it out, dump it as a waste. We cannot do that. We are not doing that also. We take it out, we extract, we call it as wealth from waste. From the so-called waste, we take out plutonium-239. We take out ruthenium-106, which is used for eye cancer treatment, brachytherapy. We take out cobalt-60, which is used in industrial radiography, which is used for cancer therapy. And we take out cesium-137, one of the longest half-life, 30 years. We take it out. So that is used in all your blood irradiators. These sort of little bit reactors, etc., are very small reactors which can only to a certain extent take care of our energy requirements. So today department has embarked on molten salt reactors. It has embarked on high temperature gas cooled reactor. Hydrogen is one of the potential fuels. So a high temperature gas cooled reactor is a very good source. In fact, Kalpakkam, I hopefully in another 1 month I should get a good news. The fast breeder test reactor should be able to produce hydrogen also. So this sort of reactors, we need to see what will suit our country, our resources, and our needs. Okay. So, you can go, yeah.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to JNTUK KAKINADA. I'm Professor Ishmohan, Professor of Computer Science and Director of Student Affairs. My question is, recently we have seen news that China is starting 1,000 nuclear reactors for its country and is taking very serious into that. Whereas India, in the news it is saying that we have the breeder reactors like that, but it is not taking any actions like China. Is it because of any leadership fault in our country level? And other thing is, you have said in your speech that JNTUK KAKINADA can have a research collaboration with you and other things. So how can we collaborate with you on behalf of JNTUK KAKINADA?
Okay, very good question. Slightly political also, but still it's okay. One thing, sir. India has also embarked on a journey of nuclear. But you should also understand that China has got some technologies in it. I mean, they are going ahead with massive plans. India has also got massive plans. But here, there is also what is called as public perception. We need to overcome that public perception if nuclear technology is to become more successful. Okay, we have all the technologies available with us today. But if I have to embark on it in a very fast way, China gives a market nobody can oppose. In India, you just say Kudapula. When the plant was about to be made operational, there was a huge wave of protest. Huge. I was part of the team which had gone around the entire place trying to communicate with the people. And many of these are not directly related to the science and technology. Dr. Kalam Saab was the chairman of the committee which went into Kudakulam and told them, because the entire Tamil Nadu, India respects him. So he told this reactor is the safest reactor. You don't have to worry. But even after that, it continued for about 1 or 2 days. So first thing is public perception about nuclear has to change. If that changes, I think that is a will on the part of the government. The technologies available with the organizations, which can definitely accelerate. Now, coming to the second part of it, I will pose a small question to you. Okay, not a question, a sort of suggestion. We have the Honorable Vice Chancellor. Why don't you think of a small micro modular and JNTUK? Why can't you think of a small micro modular reactor in your campus at Kakinada?
What capacity?
10 megawatts, 5 megawatts, not much. Today,
Yeah, pretty much contrast, sir.
huh? Sir, yes, correct. Exactly. So, why can't we think of it? What is Shanti Bill? Shanti Bill talks about that, a public-private participation. Today, there are players in the market who are willing to provide money. Private players, I'm not talking about government. So if you are able to give land infrastructure, you can benefit in multiple ways. Not only will I have a power production, I can have like the personal indicator, I can have hydrogen production also. I can use it for many other, there are research reactors in universities abroad. Which are very big.
Will atomic energy allows the universities to?
Sir, Shanti bill allows, now I cannot comment on atomic energy, but Shanti bill allows for public-private participation. I mean, it is all, after all, it's sort of where we need to have a dialogue.
It's an excellent idea.
Yes, so can we think of it? In that way, I can build up facilities for experimental investigations. I can build up, this will be a seed. I can build up larger facilities today. A lot of R&D problems are there within DAE also, which can be taken up by the institutions. So.
Can we get all the permissions to start a reactor, both financial and official?
See, today, the technology board, ANRF, etc., are coming up with a number of schemes. Somebody has to try it. Okay, when Baba thought about this, he never, okay, there will be definitely stages where we need to surmount it and then come out. But today, this is what Government of India is also interested. Like nuclear should be opened up for private participation. Then definitely department is doing its own, it has its own program, its own objectives, etc. But I can have faster implementation through the public-private partnership also. That's what Shanti will take.
Maybe a good step from the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we'll now have a presentation session. May I now invite our Professor C.S. Prasad, sir, our Vice Chancellor. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. We appreciate, recognize the presence of Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor J.P. Rajshekhar Garu for participating in this. Thank you, sir. Now we request the friends, Professor J.P. Rajshekhar sir's session is there on mathematical modeling in the context of engineering systems today afternoon. I request you all, please utilize this session and enhance the idea about the importance of mathematics in day-to-day life and in engineering background. Thank you. Now I request our Professor Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor C.S.R.K. Prasad Garu, please come on to the dais and felicitate the Venkataraman.
Think of the reactor, sir.
Thank you.
Please continue the session. And the next topic will be on towards energy security to renewable energy opportunities, challenges, and innovations. And the resource person or the keynote speaker is Dr. T. Harinaran Garu, former director, Germany, Gujarat. So I request him to just come on to the dais. Amidst your welcoming class, please. As I told you in the beginning, we were initially thinking that we have a big task and it's difficult for us to have non-fossil fuels overtaking the share of fossil fuels. This was a scenario, but fortunately for India, these challenges are going to be sometimes a boom in terms of making it much more self-reliant. Not that we are completely self-reliant, but we have done a major change. Today, the share of non-fossil fuel for the first time is more than the fossil fuel share. I think it requires an applause from everyone. I think that's not. I do not know how many of you really see anything of this. Our Department of Statistics brings out every year statistics. And just before, I have a passion for looking at the numbers. We talk about this, we talk about that. Like Dr. Venkatraman has spoken about the kind of installed nuclear capacity today, and by 2047, what it should be. Always in our mind it will run. How are we going to do it? Then comes the Shanti bill, and then comes the modular reactor concept. So now we have a pathway thinking that can we double up, can we make it triple, and that's possible. Yeah. So one demonstration that has been done is by the solar energy in our country. And to give you this exciting story of the solar energy and its improvement, we have this expert. And to introduce a speaker, I would invite one of the volunteers here, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a student of JNTUK. I'm pursuing my MTech second year now. It is my great honor to introduce an eminent scientist, researcher, and academic leader, Dr. T. Harinaran Garu, who is presently serving as an advisor at Osmania Technology Business Incubator, Osmania University. Recently, he was chosen as a high-level committee member by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for the 2026 to 2030 mission to promote geothermal energy in India. He is also a member of the Research Advisory Committee of Triple NIR. Professor T. Harinaran holds 2 doctoral degrees, one from Indian Institute of Technology, Bangalore, and the other from University of Edinburgh. Throughout his remarkable career, he has served in several prestigious positions, including Director General of Gujarat Energy Research and Management Institute, Independent Director at Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation, and Scientist Chief at CSIR National Geophysical Research Institute. He has also been associated internationally as a visiting scientist at the University of Texas at Austin and visiting professor at University of Tokyo. His outstanding contributions to physics, geothermal energy, hydrocarbons, earthquake studies, and solar energy have earned him numerous honors, including the prestigious National Mineral Award and the Best Scientist Award from the Government of Andhra Pradesh. With more than 150 research publications and 6 books to his credit, he continues to inspire the scientific community with his dedication and vision. So, please join me in warmly welcoming Professor T. Harinaran Garu. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Chairman, for the nice introduction and for the leading has given a good introduction. This is first time I'm visiting JNTUK, and thanks for the invitation to Vice Chancellors and 2 Vice Chancellors of Venkateswara University and Andhra University. Andhra University and Venkateswara University also. So my first degree from Venkateswara University, second degree from Andhra University, sir. So, okay, let me start because I was given only 30 minutes time after nuclear fission and fusion. I'm going to talk a little bit generalized talk on all types of energy sector. Let me start with first slide. Yes, please. First slide. Yeah. So today you are going to spend time with me for 30 minutes. What you will gain? This is mainly meant for the students who should get benefit from my talk. Okay, right. So what are you going to get it? You will be knowing what are the reasons for present energy crisis. Our energy need from 2014 to 25 and 25 to 35. So together we plan for 2035 as well from today. A present energy scenario from different sources. Then what are the strategic energy plan for our country to meet the demand? This is the thing we can discuss on this. And I've been telling this to be done, this to be done. What I have done. Also, I will share with you few of things on renewable energy sector. And I will give few suggestions for students. Please take it up. If it is already available, improve it. Okay, I'm going to provide you 3 new ideas to the students to take up as their intern projects. And the JNTUK KAKINADA today they can transform the whole country if there is a strategic plan and policy to the government of India. So at the end I will summarize the things. The 3 major problems of our energy crisis is that we are importing large amount of fuels. As you know, our demand is 100%, then we are putting in crude oil, so we are importing 90% from outside. We are having 100% of demand on gas, 50% we are importing. Even coal, although we have large resources, still we are importing 25% of coal from various sources, that means from Indonesia and other things. So this is the present scenario of our country. Many political disturbances, war disturbances, we are suffering. If 2 persons somewhere there is quarreling, why I should suffer in my house? Say I went to the hotel and asked for roti. He said, sir, roti is not available. I want a chapati only. Say why? Because gas is not there. Why? Because somebody is quarreling somewhere. Why should I suffer? This is the present scenario because we depend upon other countries. So this is a major issue. We need to solve this problem. And also we have got a rapid increase. You know, our economy is 6th position in the world because of various good policies of government of India. Urbanization, industrialization is going very fast. They all need energy. So because of that demand, we are having a large amount of import of various resources. And also the problem is our infrastructure for T&D losses is very high, and also our power quality of the power is not very good. So we need to improve on this particular aspect as well. And this I have predicted, this is a scenario from 2014 to 2034. I predicted in 2014. It is published and it's not just yesterday I prepared. I prepared and published earlier. You can Google it and get this figure. And what we have 2014, we are having 248 gigawatts of electricity. You remember this particular word, 248. So out of this, I predicted 530 in 2025, but actually right now, you can check the statistics, it is 501 gigawatts of electricity being generated. So I was expecting 7% growth of our country, it goes to 6.5, 6.8% only. So this is the scenario. So now, how to go from 2025 to 2035 and 2047 as well. If you see earlier in 2014 scenario, you can see from non-renewable energy, we are at 70%, that means 172 gigawatts of electricity is coming from non-renewable coal, oil, gas, whatever. And only 76 gigawatts from renewables like wind, solar, and other hydro and other sources. So this was the scenario in 2014. So now let us see from 2025 to 2035. So if you assume 6% growth only here, and your present day is 501, then if you go on increasing it to 6% only, it goes to 864. So we have to reach 501 as of today to 864 gigawatts of energy if you want to sustainable in energy sector. So let us see in 2025 what is the present situation. You have seen earlier 2014, 70% is non renewable and 30% is from renewable only. Now our scenario, because of positive policies of government of India, we have increased renewable energy to 248 gigawatts and 253 gigawatts, almost nearly 50-50. That's a good scenario in our country. Suppose 248, as I told you, 70% here, 30%, and then here is close to 50% and 50%. This is the present scenario. From here, how to plan for the next 10 years. In 2047, our target should be 90% of energy. We don't need any fuels coming from outside. We need to stand on our legs. So that should be our target, 90%. In this model, our dependence on others reduced dramatically. If you see in 2035, we can say that 253 we can maintain little bit slow to 242 because we cannot remove the existing power plants because a lot of infrastructure already exists for coal sector and others. We'll maintain similar or slightly reduced. Then renewable sector from 248, we need to reach 622 gigawatts of electricity. Where from this coming? What should be our plan for energy security? I would like to share based on the last 5 years of trend which we have generated from renewable energy. So these projections are based on last 5 years energy sector. Yeah. So if you see the division of this renewable sector, 864, you can see, and there are various things. I told you 622, this comes from hydro and small hydro, and wind and solar is dominating. Why? Because it's much cheaper and also it's freely available. Suppose you decide today you want to generate power from your house, tomorrow you get electricity. But in other sector, you have to wait and you have to build infrastructure and then it's a long way to go to make the power to come. That is the present scenario, and solar becomes much cheaper as compared to other renewable sources. So it's going to dominate in the coming years. And also the wind also going to dominate. So 864 is the different sector. You can see coal, lignite, they're all going to be a little bit less as per the plan. And renewable energy increases slowly to higher. And the new sectors are coming up like geothermal and also ocean energy. We have a huge coastline in our country which we get to tap this particular thing like wave energy, tidal energy, etc. So you can see that in this whole sector of plan, 138 and 396 is the energy scenario, and from 53 to 138 is the wind, and 127 to 396 is the in solar. That means we need to increase by 3 to 4 times the solar. Then only we can reach 864. So what are the major advantages? Why solar and wind is dominating right now in India? Because it's a free source. We don't need to depend upon energy. India located fortunately between 8 degrees to 36 degrees of northern latitude, which are close to the equator. So highest radiation. For example, in Germany, if you see the highest energy possible in their country is the lowest available in India. So that's the advantage of India. Indian radiation is very high as compared to other countries, especially like, for example, Germany. And India has got annual variation because we have seasonal. In June, definitely rain will start coming. That trend. So, lot of wind variation and atmospheric variations are regularly coming in our country. So, we have a lot of wind potential all over the places. It all depends upon how to tap it economically, how to tap it new resources, how to tap it new machinery, how to make it more economical for the benefit of the people. But there are few disadvantages as well. For example, this solar and wind, they are intermittent, already told by our previous speaker, sir. And need large energy storage system because it's not regular, it's oscillating, it's a stable, it will not have a stable power. So we need to have an intermediate storage. So it's a large land requirement. You know, as you think, for 1 megawatt of solar, you need 3 to 4 acres of land. Once you establish the power plant, and the entire land is getting locked up for next 25 years. So this is actually these disadvantages are opportunities for all the students to find solutions. How to overcome these problems. So I don't see any problem as a problem. Every problem is an opportunity to find a solution. Solar and wind are weather dependent, non-uniform, find innovative ways. Solar requires large land area, find innovative solutions to save land. I share my own thoughts my talk in the next few slides, how to save land as well. Remember, every student or any faculty, either in the engineering stream or a management stream or a social science stream or a basic science stream, can be an inventor on this aspect of energy. You start small, you should think big, and you need to act fast. Otherwise, Chinese will overcome you and you will become obsolete very soon. So remember this, start small, but we should think big and we should act fast. Inventions will create both social impact and it increases the student opportunities to get a better job based on their talent. The research or project outcome of your internship, whatever, it should be useful to the industry. Plan your research in such a way that your research result should reach the industry. Not just it is lying on your academic sector and put it in a small report and submit and get a good marks and then go home. It's not that way. It should be useful to the society or industry. Now I will share you a few examples based on my own research results related to energy. These examples should stimulate you. When I can do it, you can do it 10 times better than me because I have done these things after my retirement in 2014. But you are young, you have a lot of time, you can do much faster, you got more technological tools around you. My suggestion for tooling is you can invent through internship program. Before that, I'd like to share a few examples of my inventions. So internship program, we have got involved in Usmania University, OTPI, Usmania Technology Business Incubator. We have internship programs open to everybody in India. I suggest and I promise 3 universities are here, like KAKINADA and the Vikasit University and Andhra University. We can support 5 students from each university, use the technology as an internship program to Usmania University. So I'm going to share you some of the things which my intern students have done this particular job. So this is one of the PhD student work. As we all know that once you are sitting in the car and moving, then you are using energy to move forward. Simple thumb rule. But what actually happening is wind is blowing in the opposite direction. Almost the same speed as you are traveling. Suppose you are traveling in 100 kilometers, the same 100 kilometers your wind is traveling in the opposite direction. Okay? So it is getting wasted. We are not tapping it. So our idea is you can tap this energy in various vehicles. For example, these are the 3 turbines, 6 turbines. Why 6 turbines? I will tell you later. 6 turbines we have put up, and then we can generate each turbine 10 to 15 kilowatts of energy is possible, or even 1 kilowatt, 5 kilowatts also possible in each quota. For example, the railway track is 21 meters. Each bogie we can put 2 tunnels. It's to be updated to be after security reasons and other things need to be passed out. This is actually a patented. My patented is I got it already received the patent for this particular idea through my student. So bottom also 2 tunnels are involved. So one can generate energy Suppose think of all the bogies, all the trains which are moving has got these, then you got energy generated in that particular sector. This is one concept. Another invention is on navigation. See, navigation, I got this issue solved while I was traveling in Bangalore. I was sitting in the best city of India, IT city of India, but I faced the problem in transportation using Uber. That person could not reach me quickly. I wasted 10 to 15 minutes to get the taxi to my place. So this problem is stimulated me to find an innovation and find out a 8-digit alphanumeric code anywhere in the world. One can touch it. You get the 8-digit code through which you can go to that particular location more easily. That's the invention. I request all the youngsters here who are having mobile phones to scan this and get your experience yourself on Usmania University. We digitized Usmania University, which is 1,200 acres of land, various departments which are not many people know where these are located. Just scan it and you will get the information about all the departments. You can navigate that particular thing from here. From here to there, also you can get the information. So this is one of the invention we completed we need one tool, then scan it, navigate it, over. This is another problem which I faced in zoo. When I want to see tigers, they said go this way, that way. That has been a big problem. I thought, okay, this problem also to me. Wherever I face the problem, I'm trying to get a solution. I suggest all the students, don't look at the problem as a problem. A problem faced by you is not a problem at all. It's an opportunity for you to find a solution. So this also you can scan it and you can go to wherever, whichever animal you like in Nehru Zoo of Hyderabad. From here you can go to that, you get the navigation to that place. But if you are in the Nehru Zoo itself at the game, you can go to without asking anybody, without looking at the map. And this is another one which I was talking about saving the land. That means if you keep the solar panels one above the other, then you can increase the energy of the particular plant by 60 to 70% more. Then somebody asked me, how can you put one below one will not get the light? I told them, I'm not putting the land together. We are putting like a chessboard, one panel and one gap, one panel, one gap. So the lower panel also will get the same thing, and higher panel will definitely get a large sunlight, and lower panel will get 60 to 70% less radiation. That means together at the same location is not 100%, you get 160 to 170% of energy. And I'm sure JNTUK students can do 10 times better on all these inventions using AI and ML techniques. My few suggestions to energy sector using the internship program, I'm going to share with you 3 of them. You develop a mobile such that you can estimate the solar potential of any rooftop. So nowadays, if anybody wants to put up a thing, then they have to ask how much charges, how much generates, how many units. Why should you ask it? You put a huge generator, you make a facility, and such that anybody can touch it, and they should get all the information, how much energy is possible, how much money they can save, how much potential is available on their rooftop based on the area. All these things you can generate and you can keep it. If it's already available, somebody has done it already, you try to improve that particular aspect. And another problem is, we all use taxis like Uber, Ola, Rapido, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, if you want to know 3 different things, which one is cheaper? Which one will come to me faster? These are the 2 issues. You go on, put one, open it up, and then put it down, then second open it up, put it down. This cannot be done. With one app, it should AI can do things such that the user will get all the 3 parameters together. That means I want if everybody wants cheaper, everybody wants to be faster. How much faster you can be, how much cheaper I will be. So these 2 parameters you can give it. You can add many more items as per your knowledge and innovation. The third one is the TH code, the smart navigation. I don't know whether JNTUK campus has been digitized or not, If some of the students can take it up for Kakinada this campus, which is 110 acres of land, you can digitize it and you can also go for internal navigation. Suppose a building has got 3 floors, you can do navigation internally. That also you can add into that. So do projects and publish results, use publications to make products. And the 3 examples related to renewable energy in my innovation work. So I'm going to share with you 3 more things on renewable energy. This is the modeling thing which we have done in 2016, modeling of solar thermal power plant. So we are all know solar means only solar panel and wind, but solar thermal plant also need to be checked because we have a lot of solar panels. So we have done modeling and throughout India, potential is already known now in digital values. And this is another thing which we have published, like solar energy potential in places like Gujarat, Bandra, Telangana states. We have completed and we put up in the atlas of that. See, the thing is, government of India has provided solar radiation. That is the input on the surface of the ground. What we have done is output from the plant, how much potential, how much energy is possible. Similarly, wind also has been done. So these 3 publications and large amount of data is available that we compiled together to one of the intern student and made it as the one particular QR code. Now this also you can scan and you can choose any location and you touch it, you will get how much potential is possible at that location. You have seen all the 3 publications, how this number has come. You can go to publication and understand the technology and modeling parameters, then you will understand. So these are the things which we have done under our internship program. We can do much more through JNTU is a high-end, high technology and highly intelligent people are here. So we can do much better projects into this sector. So there are many ideas like this for students to take up this problem and find solution through AI and ML technologies and internship program. I'm ready to help. I'm ready to come and spend time in this university, sir, because my own university, Andhra University, my first degree from Venkateswara University, and Kakinada, I like very much. So I can come here again and help to promote the internship program of the students. In summary, please remember that present power generation is 501 gigawatts of electricity and it may reach 864 if you go up to 6 to 7% growth rate in 2035. I'll come back in 2035 and we'll see these numbers. We all need to work towards innovation to make 90 to 100% generation using renewable sources such that our import bill will reduce drastically. That amount of amount which we are spending on foreign exchange can be used within India for our own infrastructure. Plenty of opportunities exist for students. Only requirement is required is you can be any sector, whether ECE or CSC or AI, anything is okay with me. Even management, even science, even BCom, no problem. What are required is your dedication, your determination, and ready to work to bring up your time and hard work. These are the 3 parameters only we check with the student whether they're really serious or they want to come on application and afterwards they want a certificate. No, that is not possible. Thank you very much.
That was an excellent lecture, and the session is open for a couple of questions from scholars, preferably. If you have understood it so very well, then it's good. But probably some of you have scanned. Oh yeah, this.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Vijay, research scholar. If you are having any project proposals, if you have any support from Swarnandhra University, actually in the last session, Sir also has given on nuclear, atomic energy and all the things. from ECIL and the BAL and it's like, I have any support from the institutes and.
So you have a project, you want funding proposal, right? Or mentor support. Okay, mentor support is possible. Funding support you have to apply because now I'm advisor to Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. We encourage a new concept. For example, one student from IIT Madras has submitted one project in
JNTUK
he wants to use the abandoned oil wells. See, there are so many 10,000 oil wells are abandoned. There is no oil there, no gas is there.
Yes, sir.
They are all lying idle in India. And
Direct
each
op-
drilling hole,
direct
it
op-
costs about something like
Take it.
10 to 20 crores, that order. But bottom hole of that, each hole has having very high temperature. He submitted a project and he support. What I want to say, if you want a funding support, you have to come through the proper channel to forwarded by the respective HODs of your department, submitted to Government of India. Then when it comes to me for review, I am a member of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for next 3 years. Then we will examine and we will pass it through and try to support you. My suggestion is, if you have any good idea, catch hold of the industry or catch hold of a company who will use it. Don't have just an idea, you want to execute it. It's not possible. I mean, it's not useful. So the industry can support 30% and Government of India is ready to support 70%. So the company will get 100% support. So what I want to say that if you want to cook biryani, see whether who is going to use your biryani. If there is nobody to eat, don't prepare biryani in your house. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, please.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Rajan, a chemistry PhD scholar. Our concern is about increasing renewable resources. For example, if you take solar energy, it has a disadvantage that we can't produce solar energy during the rainy season. And I have an idea about using the rain droplets for producing electricity because rain is coming from 2 kilometers above the surface, and rain droplet will come with velocity of 10 meters per second with a kinetic energy of 5 to 10 to the power minus 3 joules. So can't it be used, the energy of water droplets for the production of energy and electricity? It is my doubt. Whether there is an idea of using these rain droplets for the production of energy or not, if it is there, at what level the thing is going on? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. You know, there are many new ideas are there, but the only thing is you need to check how much economical it is. You know, because why solar and wind is far ahead of other renewables? Because it's more economical, because it's more cheaper. That's why it's dominating. And it produces instantly. If you put it right now, you start generating energy. So these are the few advantages, fastest, very fast. So if your concept is based on the rain droplets, is very good. But which first you need to identify which places in India have got more rainfall. Then your product will be useful. For example, as you know, in India, northeast region, in called Cherrapunji area, all the time raining. That is the perfect place for your technology to do. But having said that, I am very much impressed with your idea. But the question is, you need to make a proposal and see how much is the cost. Because I'm from Gujarat, you know. So I was in Gujarat. I very much concerned about money. Okay. ఎంత పడిపోతుంది ఎంత ఖర్చు పెడతాం ఎంత నా డబ్బు వెనక్కి ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది సపోజ్ ఫర్ యువర్ టెక్నాలజీ ఐ గివ్ 100 rupees, let us say. When I can get back my 100 rupees? 1 year? 2 years? 3? Tell me how much time. For example, in solar, in 5 to 7, 6 to 7 years, you will get back all the money. From then onwards, because 25 years, you all get profit out of it. So such type of models are required. See, technology is a technology, but how best it can reach the society, how best it is acceptable to the people, that's very, very important. And also, how much cheaper it can be. Because rain season only comes in few months, you know. That time only it's useful. After that, no. But combination of your idea along with solar and then other things are very good. You can propose it. We will examine and accordingly we will process it and then try to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful lecture. A big round of applause to now, may now call upon Professor Kalachan Swain, JC Post National Fellow at CSR NGRI, Hyderabad, Former Director, Adia Institute of Himalayan Geology, GST, Dehradun, and he would be enlightening us on gas hydrates, a potential clean energy resource for India. Well, yeah, so far we have talked about a known energy source, and subsequently we spoke about a non-fossil and renewable energy source. Now we are just moving on to a potential energy source which should be further tapped for our country. And after listening to this excellent talk, probably we can have a small discussion if there is a requirement. And before I invite him to deliver his lecture, I will have his introduction by one of. Yeah, please.
Very good afternoon to one and all. A warm welcome to the others gathering here. I amazingly Kiranmai taking the privilege to introduce Kalachan Swain, today's keynote speaker. Dr. Swain is a JC Bose National Fellow and Senior Geoscientist at CSIR, National Geophysical Research Institute, with internationally recognized expertise in seismology, machine learning applications in geophysics, seismic tomography, and geohazard assessment. He obtained his MSc in Applied Geophysics from IIT ISM Bangalore and PhD in Active Seismology from CSIR NGRI, followed by postdoctoral research at University of Cambridge and Rice University. He is a visiting scientist at USGS and he has served as director of Vadia Institute of Himalayan Geology and held additional charge as director of Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences. Dr. Swain's research spans energy resources, including gas hydrates and geothermal energy, machine learning-based seismic interpretation, rock physics modeling, subsurface imaging, and climate-induced geohazards such as earthquakes, landslides, avalanches, and flash floods. He has led large national and international projects worth over 62 crores and produced more than 50 SCI publications with over 6,500 citations. He authored and edited several books and guided 16 PhD scholars. He is a fellow of 3 Indian National Science Academies. Dr. Swain is a recipient of numerous prestigious honors, including the National Mineral Award, MOES National Award of Excellence in Geosciences, and a Dr. Hari Narayan Lifetime Achievement Award. His work strongly aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in clean energy security, disaster resilience, and capacity building. He continues to play a key leadership role in national scientific committees and professional bodies. Now, I am inviting Dr. Kalachan Swain to share his thoughts. Welcome, sir.
A very good afternoon, Professor Prasad, my friend Tata Narsima, two more Honorable Vice Chancellor of KAKINADA and Andhra University, Venkatraman Garu, Professor Subarao Garu, our Lakshmi Narasimha Garu, and all the and all the distinguished delegates, research scholars, students, faculty members. About this energy issue, a lot of things have been spoken in this session. I will just touch upon one of the important aspects, which is very much available in nature, and particularly state like Andhra Pradesh has huge potential. I come at the end. What we can do as a resident of Andhra Pradesh, and for that aspect, I have chosen this topic, gas hydrates, which are considered a major future potential and clean energy source for our country. So, why we should bother about country? Bother about energy? Everybody knows that energy is the prime engine for any country's socio-economic growth. It has been spoken by many in this session and elsewhere in different platforms. And if we look into the energy scenario, then we can see that world gigantic energy requirement is mostly made by fossil fuels. Only 20% is till date we are able to produce from the renewable and green energy resources. Therefore, there lies a tremendous scope and opportunity to the youngster to make a breakthrough into the renewable and green energy resources. And in that domain, why it is required? Because if we use fossil fuels, it has been spoken that by burning, it produces carbon dioxide and many other greenhouse gases, which have been responsible for the climate change and global warming. So the question arises, at one hand, we need energy for the socio-economic growth, and it produces carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas that is causing global warming and climate change, and its impact is huge and indicators are visible. If you look into the Himalayan terrain, I am coming from that particular institute, then you can see glaciers are melting, glaciers are thinning, glaciers are retreating, glacial lakes are being formed, glacial lakes are being expanded, tree lines, shoreline are shifting upward. There have been sea surface temperature rising, land surface temperature rising, sea level rising. All these are indicators of the climate change and global warming. But why should we bother? What are their impacts? The impacts are visible everywhere. If we look into the energy security, if we look into the water scarcity, biodiversity, health, agricultural, food sectors, everywhere it has made tremendous impact. As well as if we look into the climate variability, seasonal changes, and we are seeing the excessive rainfalls causing the landslides into the hilly terrain, causing floods into the or droughts into the plain. In the coastal part, we see storms, surges, or cyclones, coastal erosions, land degradations. So we can see the lot of impact of the climate change. So there are two contrasting views. One is that energy is very much required, we have understood, for anything we want to do for socio-economic growth, strategic advancement, we need that. On the other hand, mostly what we are using the fossil fuels that cause global warming or climate change and that have a lot of consequences. So as a student, as a researcher, as a faculty member, as a policy decision maker, as a country's developmental growth, what we can do, what we can contribute. So there lies a tremendous scope. I will touch upon some of the important aspects. So now United Nations has given two important initiatives that we should use energy, but we should control the temperature rise by another 2 degrees Celsius from this present temperature scenario. And why we need that? We have seen that if we go beyond another 2 degrees Celsius temperature, overall average global temperature, sea level rise, I already had talked, and we are in KAKINADA also. There may be some impact into the low-lying cities or maybe coastal regions elsewhere throughout the world that can be inundated. And two initiatives how we can fulfill. One is carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero carbon by 2070. The initiatives are fine, but now how will we be able to achieve those initiatives? That is the challenge, and that challenge we can fulfill being a researcher, being a student, being a faculty member. So it has been spoken, Dr. Ravanji also has spoken that we need an affordable and secured energy supply. So if we can find out an alternate to fossil fuels, what are the alternates? I'll come back after a few minutes. But that alternate has to secure us. Alternate can be used in affordable manner. The alternate can be used in environmentally safe manner. So three important things we have to keep in mind if we propose and if we find a solution to the climate change program, to the global warming program, and then alternative of the fossil fuels. And there are several forms of green and renewable energy resources. If we talk about hydrogen, if we talk about hydro, if we talk about geothermal, if we talk about nuclear, if we talk about agricultural institute to ethanol, or plastic to aviation fuel, or ocean current, tidal fuel, there are several forms of energy sources as renewable and green are available, but we have not been made any relation into that domain. So why we have not been able to make it? So if you can make the fundamental understanding why we have not been able to, you will be able to make a solution in that direction. You have to work, you have to make science, technology, innovation interface in that domain, and definitely you will make a breakthrough or success. So we have to find out those three important aspects: science, technology, innovation, interface. But even if so much effort is being taken place into this renewable and green energy sector, it has been spoken by our previous speakers, but we have not been able to make it. And the International Energy Agency 2021 report says that fossil fuels will remain for another few decades to meet the gigantic energy requirements. So again, we are coming back to the same positions. What for we are trying to make a renewable and green energy, but this International Energy Agency is telling the fossil fuel we will, because the requirement is so huge. It's not possible unless you make really breakthrough or renaissance. So in that context, if we have to depend on the fossil fuels, then how will we be able to meet those two targets or make the important aspects into the climate mitigation? On that, definitely we have to make a gradual shift in the energy sector towards the low carbon and environmental resource. How will we be able to do that? So if we use the fossil fuel, definitely it will produce carbon dioxide. Now we have to think how innovative way we can capture that carbon dioxide, whether the absorption or hydration is sufficient for the capturing of the carbon. If not, we have to think innovative. After capturing, what we will do? After capturing, we have to think that captured carbon dioxide can be converted into usable products or process, like by some catalytic chemical reaction. Carbon dioxide can be converted into methanol, carbon dioxide can be converted into carbonate, and carbonate and methanol can be used for several purposes. So these are some of the products we can think of it. But there are certain other processes also we can utilize this carbon dioxide to build, to develop. So we always have to think in a innovative way. How will we be able to do that? So for that particular carbon dioxide can be sequestered into a formation, the geological formation, that can be depleted oil field, that can be subvolcanic sediments, that can be suboceanic sediments, or deep pore ships. So these are the several places we have to identify where those carbon dioxides can be injected and carbon dioxide can be sequestered. So this is one way. And that sequestered carbon dioxide, if you can develop some innovative ways, we started some experiment into what is Himalayan geology. Ladakh is full of lot of mafic and asthmatic rocks. So we brought that rocks into the lab at a specific pressure and temperature. We mix the carbon dioxide into water and the aqueous carbon dioxide injected into that chamber, and we found out that particular carbon dioxide has been converted into carbonates of economic importance, as well as it has produced orange hydrogen. So there are different types of hydrogen. Because of this formation, we call this red hydrogen, white hydrogen, brown hydrogen, orange hydrogen. So depending on its formation, we give a different name. So hydrogen is also thought of different organization has thought how will be able to meet the energy requirement. So that is one aspect, CCUS experiment. Second aspect is that if we burn coal, it produces maximum amount of carbon dioxide. If we burn oil, it produces next minimum amount of carbon dioxide. And if we burn natural gas, it produces least amount of carbon dioxide. So is it possible to convert that oil or gas coal into gas? So the gasification Fortifying the gasification technology is very, very important. So if we can think of an efficient way, implementing way by which that oil or coal can be converted into gas, and if gas is used, it will produce this amount of carbon dioxide. So some mitigation results is there. Third important thing is that we talk about synergy. So when we independently use one form of energy, independently use another form of energy, and if we can develop a hybrid technology by which these two forms can be utilized, it will produce 1 plus 1 is equal to how much? 11, not 2. That is called what? That is called synergy. So you have to think of development of the hybrid technology by which two or more form of energy resources by which you are not able to, we have done only 20%. I told in the beginning, the 20% from the renewable. But if we can develop the hybrid technology by which two or more form of energy can be synergized, you can produce much more, multiple times. So you have to think in that direction. So these three important issues, we can think of it if we are not able to make the reduction into the green or renewable energy resource as an alternative to the fossil fuels. Let us see how we can do that. If we look into the Indian scenario, India produces only 1/4 of our oil and gas requirements. Remaining we import from outside. We pay huge extra for that. And during the last few decades, no major discovery of oil and gas has taken place. Already I spoke that we have not been made any renaissance or breakthrough into the renewable and green energy. So there lies a tremendous scope, whether in the nuclear, whether it is in geothermal, whether it is solar, whether it is in green, whether it is any form of energy available, we can make a breakthrough. Definitely, we will be able to make this two initiatives, whatever have been spoken by the UN, the 2050 and 2070 would be made. So the easy oil as discovery or exploration era has gone. So we have to venture into the difficult domain. There is a fast coal belt of the Himalaya, huge amount of hydrocarbons are there. There are subvolcanic sediments, Mesozoic sediments in which oil, worldwide 50% of oil has been found in the Mesozoic sediments, but in our country we have not been able to make it. There are deep ocean, alternative oceans, where gas hydrates and conventional hydrocarbons are also present. So we have to develop new tool. The conventional tool may not work into those domains. So we have to develop new tool, new innovative approaches, utilize that into those difficult domains, and identify and explore what are the possibility of the conventional resources. Then different forms of gas hydrates I have told, but there will be shale gas, there will be shale oil, there will be tight gas, there are coal-bed methane. I'm just giving you the nomenclature. Those who are not from the geoscience background, I know that it will be a little bit difficult for you. That's why here I am presenting a mix of general presentation and a technical presentation also I come. So that simply by telling will not work. We have to also show our capability. We have to show how much we have progressed, where do we stand, and what are the future challenges exist. For that, we need to advance our research. So, if we talk about all these non-conventional energy resources, gas hydrates seem to be the most promising. Why? If we say most promising, definitely I have to say reasons. Number one reason is that its main constituent is methane, CH4, only one carbon. But other natural gas have C2, C3, C4, oil will be having much more complex, coal. So they are much more C oriented. So this is the lowest hydrocarbon, which is considered the green hydrocarbon. Among hydrocarbon, we cannot simply call it green, but it is the lowest carbon dioxide producing hydrocarbon is the methane, if we burn the methane. So that methane is there, 99.9% methane is there in the gas hydrates. This is one important aspect. Second important aspect, in the Indian offshore, particularly in the Krishna Godavari offshore, Teji offshore, the amount of gas hydrate is so huge. If we produce only 10%, then it can meet our country's energy requirement for several decades at the current rate of consumption. Can you imagine? Only 10% can meet 7 or 8 decades of our energy requirement of the whole country. We need not bother about importing oil. We need not bother about what Trump is imposing tariff. So we have to have our indigenous resource to be exploited, to be utilized to safeguard country's energy security, energy requirements. And that can be made affordable, that can be made economically viable, and that can be made environmentally safe. Why I'm telling? Because it produces, if we burn it, it produces least amount of carbon dioxide. Not 100% carbon free, but least amount. And second and third important thing, that it is available into the marine environment. There is ocean current, tidal waves, there are wind, solar. So there is a tremendous scope for hybridizing the meteorology. Extraction of the methane from the hydro reservoir, and you just hybridize it with by developing hybrid technology. So there is a second step. And next important thing, that because of this huge energy, it can make energy in India self-reliant, as well as we need not bother about importing from outside. We need not make any other effort. And the goal of the clean energy, clean and green energy, to some extent will be made to achieve the goal of the Vikasit Bharat. All of us talking about 2047 would like to see our country develop. I see already we have achieved. We are nearing to the developed countries definition. Only thing, there are certain issues if we keep aside all these political games. Otherwise, we are going in that direction only. So we are talking about so far gas hydrate. For the benefit of the student, it must have arisen question in your mind: what is gas hydrate? Gas hydrate is nothing but it is in form of methane, 99.9%, and water. It forms at very high pressure, around more than 3 megapascal pressure, and low temperature, less than 10 degrees Celsius temperature. And it is found into the oceanic sediments, shallow sediments, not at the deep sediment, because deep sediment temperature will be high enough, the gas hydrate will not explain. So it is not like minerals and oil, stable at standard temperature and pressure. At a high pressure and low temperature condition, it is existing into the marine environment, into the shallow sediments. So if we produce simply, it will simply dissociate, and that methane will be added into the atmosphere environment, and methane, you know, much more potent as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. 20, 30, 40 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. So simply, if you puncture that hydrogen reservoir and methane escapes into the atmosphere, that would be dangerous. What for we are looking for the gas hydrate? The same effect that climate change, global warming, greenhouse gas emissions, all these things are happening. So we have to produce that carbon, that methane stored into the methane hydrate in a controlled manner. And how far we have succeeded so far? Only few countries into the world at this moment, they have test produced carbon dioxide methane from the hydrogen reservoir. One is USA, second is Canada, one is Japan and China. I will show that one also. But their test production, only they did on for 7 days, 4 days, 5 days. They produced and burned, after they stop. But why did they stop? Because they found out they were able to dissociate the gas from the gas hydrate reservoir by thermal injection, or by depressurization, or by chemical inhibitor injection, or by a combination of these. They were successful to produce gas from the hydrate reservoir, but they didn't do that research because it were available into the sand reservoir. After few days, the sand reservoir from the reservoir also getting produced. This is a challenge. So they are now pursuing the research how they will be able to make this sand mitigation. Because sand production they don't want. They want to produce gas from the hydrogen reservoir, not sand. Sand is the reserve. So they are now extensively using in Japan, Germany they have been doing, Singapore they have been doing, Japan they have been doing, and Japan predicted that even at this moment, production of the gas from the hydrogen reservoir is costly affair, they will produce, because they indigenously produce only 10% of their requirements. So they heavily depend on. And then they say it is our challenge that we produce indigenously instead of buying from foreign country, we will produce from our own country, even if cost is more. So that type of initiative, that type of government initiative is very, very important. So if we want to produce, we need to have a lot of initiatives from the government side also. And how do we know that gas scientists are present in a particular geological setup in a marine environment? There are seismic experiments we can do. We need not bother about. I just show on with that. And in the seismic experiment, the marker for the presence of the gas hydrate, one of the typical or anomalous seismic reflector we find out has been defined as the bottom simulating reflector. By identifying the bottom simulating reflector based on its characteristic properties, based on its several attributes, we can identify. You need not bother about that. Those who will be pursuing research, they only thing you should know for the identification, we have developed the indigenous tool. We have developed indigenous tool for the identification of the gas cycle, for the characterization of the gas cycle, and for the assessment of the gas cycle. We need to know how much amount of gas is present in the form of iron. So all these techniques have been developed by engineering scientists, by NIO scientists, many other, even some of the people in the R&D industry also have worked with that movement. So we are ready for the derivation of the gas cycle results. I will show you what we have done in that. So these are the basics: Mahanadi, Krishna Godavari, Kaveri, Andaman, Kerala Konkan, and Saurashtra and Kerala Lakshadweep. These are the basins we have seen having potential for the presence of the gas hydrates. But out of all these basins, this Krishna Godavari basin has huge amount of gas hydrates. I will show you the gas hydrate chunk what we have produced from the drilling and coring that particular regions also. And these are the places in the KG basin we have acquired the seismic data, and from the seismic data processing, analysis, modeling, we have identified gas hydrates where the black are the lines where we have acquired the data, and white are the lines we have identified the presence of BSR. That BSR told that the marker for the gas hydrate. So those are the regions are having gas hydrate. Now that is from the surface experiment we have delineated into the subsurface. But what is the guarantee that our delineation is correct? That what are the validation? For that, we made drilling into that particular locations, and I will show some of the examples of that code what we have required from those particular places. So from the seismic experiment done on the surface, subsurface, gas hydrate have been delineated, gas hydrate have been quantified, and later on by drilling and coring, when we got the sample, we find out that yes, there are gas hydrates. And Krishna Godavari, the morphology of the gas hydrate is different. What we have seen, it is in the nodular form, it is in the nodular form, it is in the vein form, it is in the massive form, massive gas hydrate. In the worldwide different basins, people have identified gas hydrate, but the massive gas hydrate, what we have produced from the Krishna Godavari basin is unique. It has never been found elsewhere into the world. So that is one of the important aspects we want to bring to your notice, that we have huge amount of resource potential even in our Andhra Pradesh. So we have to think how we'll be able to produce that gas to meet the country's energy requirements. And at Frontier, we have dedicated a dedicated building so that we can understand the formation kinetics, dissociation kinetics at the lab. We have recovered some of the samples that can be analyzed in the geochemical lab. We have acquired seismic data that can be analyzed and processed into the seismic interpretation and processing lab. So we have established a different type of analytical facilities and processing facilities at NGRI within this gas hydrate matrix. And this is the scenario what we have been doing in a nutshell. I'd like to place before you that this is the geophysical data by which we can do model. And by modeling, we can understand where are the gas hydrates present, where are the BSRs, number one. Then number two, we also develop a lot of tools by which we can quantify. And when we recover the samples geochemically we can analyze. And most importantly, we have set up a laboratory because for the production, geologically specific production method, what are most needed, we need to do that experiment. And if we do that experiment into the field, it will be very costly again. So we have to do, as Professor Vikram also has pointed out, we have to simulate, we have to synthesize gas hydrate into the lab in the similar geological formation or setup where gas hydrates are existing into the field in the KG basin. And then we have to see how best we can produce, we can dissociate that gas hydrate into gas, and that gas can be how safely we can recover. So all these simulation studies, some part we have done at NGI also with the help of collaboration with IIT Kanpur, and that experiment shows that there are certain promoters, if we add, it helps us for the dissociation of the gas hydrates. I told that gas hydrates are stable at high pressure and low temperature. So definitely it comes into your mind for the dissociation of the gas hydrate, since it is stable at high pressure, we have to depressurize the system and gas hydrate is present, number one. Since it is stable at low temperature, we have to heat the reserve by thermal injection or anything. In presence of some chemical, it gas hydrates start dissociated. So we can inject some inhibitor like methanol, then gas hydrates get. Or maybe there is a molecular substitution that many institutes in the world are doing the research into that domain. Because carbon dioxide, if we inject into the methane hydrate reservoir, carbon dioxide replaces methane and sits in its position. Because carbon dioxide hydrate is more stable than methane hydrate. So molecular substitution reaction also, as a physicist, as a chemist, you can do into a laboratory. So by doing extensive laboratory study, simulation study, you will be able to come up the what sort of strategy, what sort of methodology we should follow that will suit to the extraction of the gas from the hydrate reservoir in our own geological setup. Other geological setup, other countries setup, they have to do different ways. So always that simulation and that study, you cannot go to the field directly and collect the sample and do that. It's costly affair. You have to go to the deep sea. You have to have a different type of ship, and then you have to drill through that. You have to extract this. This is impossible. Everything you have to simulate into the lab, and then you have to find out that what is the best possible way for the extraction. There is a tremendous challenge to the technologies by which we will be able to produce that. Different other countries have been doing, and we lag in that direction. As a geoscientist, we have explored extensively, and we have mapped huge amount of 1900 billion cubic meter of gas in the form of hydrogen, or more than 15 times of countries present, 1500 types of countries present natural gas is existing in the form of hydrogen. So, geoscience points of view, extensive work has been done. Now we have to go into the technological front. Technology we have to develop. That's why I say the scientific knowledge is there. Technology, now innovation, then interface, then only it will make a success story. Otherwise not. So these are the different technology, whatever I told for the production, people are trying to think of it. And I told in the beginning also that this is not only remaining into the research domain. The production of gas from the hydrate reservoir, how it will be done. The different countries have done different ways. I'll give you an example that in Malik site, Canada, they by depressurization and thermal, they produce for only 5 days. In the Ignik Sikumi, in the Alaska, USA, they have done some flue gas injection and they produce for 6 weeks. Nankai Trough in Japan, they followed depressurization method, produce for 6 weeks. And Senhu in South China Sea, they produce by a mixture of thermal and depressurization method. And everywhere you can see this production, they continued only for few days after they stopped, because they didn't think of that when producing gas from the hydrate reservoir, that sand itself will start to be getting produced. So they are now thinking how they will do the sand mitigation part. That research is going on. So I was telling in KG, but you have to think of it why KG basin is so having huge potential of the gas hydrate. Why KG basin has attracted a lot of industries for the conventional, even for tight gas, shale gas, many other aspects, everything. If we look into KG basin is a ideal place. KG basin is a good example where we can see all sort of hydrocarbons, whether it is a non-conventional or conventional or agent. This is because of, if you look into this basin, then you can see the Krishna basin and Godavari basins. They are bringing huge amount of debris material, rich in organic matter, and they are getting deposited. And in course of time, they are getting more and more depth. So they are not getting exposed for the if you simply leave any material, living material, whether it's organic matter, it will expose, it will decay. But if it goes into deeper and deeper with the passage of time under sedimentation load, then it remains. And by pressure and temperature, it converts into kerosene, then oil or gas, etc., etc. So if you look into that scenario, then we can see there have been continuous supply of organic rich material, debris into the Krishna and Godavari river. There is a huge scope for the generation and accumulation as well as trapping of the gas and oil, whether it is a conventional or unconventional type gas, shale gas, gas engines, all are there. And for trapping, we need different type of structure, that anticline structure, fault, unconformity, channel fields, pinch out. And when we have analyzed this seismic data, we have identified all these features. So it is not we are telling from here. We have acquired the data, we have processed and modeled the data, we have delineated the features, we have identified the marker, everything, and that's why we are telling that the place is most suitable for the production, for the existence of the gas or oil or gas hydrating region, and then later on validated by drilling and pouring that exchange. And if you look into the geological formations, then mostly we can see that they have 5 kilometer or 6 kilometer thick Permo-Triassic to Pleistocene sedimentary formations, which are very good for the multiples of the petroleum system. So we have to understand petroleum system. That means how the gas has been generated or oil has been generated, how they are stored into the reservoir, who is tapping, what sort of structure is existing, all these things if we do in a holistic manner and extensive way. For that, you have to have geophysical data, geological data, geochemical data, just like Sir has told, the multidisciplinary, here interdisciplinary different approaches are also required to give a holistic view about the presence of the gas or hydrate into a particular regions. So I told in the beginning that gas hydrate has another important aspect, that if we do not produce in a controlled manner, then that gas methane escapes into the air. That will be dangerous. That is 20, 30, 40 times more potent than carbon dioxide greenhouse gas. So we have to develop a controlled way of developing gas using hydrate reservoirs. But naturally also sometimes there have been tectonic disturbance, there have been tidal unloading. They also lead to dissociation of the gas hydrate. There will be change in the pressure and temperature. The sea bottom temperature also get changed. Because it is stable only at high pressure and low temperature. The moment there is a disturbance of the temperature or pressure regime, there will be chances of the dissociation of the gas hydrate into the gas. So we have to look into several phenomena that can lead to the ecosystem, the biological ecosystem into the environment. There can be some oil platform, it can cause some disaster-free platform. So we have to look into the environmental hazard, marine hazard, all this study also we have to do parallelly before we go for production or extraction of the gas from the hydrate reservoirs. So for that, to know what is the status worldwide. In 2014 in Hyderabad, we convened from India, I was the convener and organizer, and there are 10 countries, their national program they presented that what is the status of the gas hydrate in that country. What is the status of the exploration? What is the status of the exploration? What is the impact of the environment, impact to the marine? If we produce gas from the gas hydrate, all people came from different countries and they presented. And we got a holistic view about the some of the questions. We make that breakout sessions. Breakout session is very, very important nowadays. That if we find out some of the important topic, I will segregate the people, they will discuss in a closed room and find out how they will be able to provide a particular measure to address that particular issue or problem. Another problem, like that 6-7 problems we identified in breakout session. I am just showing three important outcomes of the three breakout sessions. What came out from the 2014 International Lithium Hydrogen conference into Hyderabad. First one, that question was asked, when it will be produced? The general question. Media person often ask me, so when it will be produced? But production, even in the beginning also we had the question related to the political issues. We will not discuss about this matter. But definitely, if we talk about when it will be produced, it depends on many factors. Number one, availability of the natural gas and oil. Definitely, if the natural gas and oil are available at a low cost, and if we produce gas from the hydrate at a higher cost, nobody will buy. Just like Finance have also their solution, biryani will buy. If you produce not good quality but with same quality biryani, but somebody is selling at low cost, somebody is going. So we have to look into the prices of the available oil into that. So if oil and gas is exhausted, then you have to depend on gas hydrate. So it depends on one factor. If renewable and green energy resource may be a breakthrough, again, we cannot think of gas hydrate because already the requirement of the energy is being made by the green or the renewable. But study has shown that we have to go along to make a breakthrough to meet the gigantic world energy requirement of the energy into that only. Other thing is that competition, which already I have told, type of geological reservoirs. In the Krishna Godavari basin, we have different type of reservoir, sand reservoir, clay reservoir. Sand will be having porosity, clay will be having fractures. How will be able to produce from the fracture? Or if it is only clay, how will be able to first produce fracture into the clay, then produce, create more permeability, porosity. Many things are involved. So type of reservoir is also very important, and geographical locations. So if it is a very far from the shoreline, we have to produce and bring, cost also will be escalated. So many factors we have to look into, and then government push. Just like Japan, I give the example. Japan says doesn't matter. Japan has given signal to all researchers and technologies to go ahead with the production of gas hydrate. Even it is costly, doesn't matter, because we will be feeling proud that we are producing of our own gas from the gas hydrate reservoirs, present into the non-hydro and into the Japan option. So that sort of initiative is there. So many factors, if we can amalgamate together, if we can find out, then only we can answer when gas from the hydrate reservoir is produced. So like that, I'm giving you one example. Like that, in any topic, whenever you find, you break out and then give questions and then ask the people to storm their brain and then come out some sort of solutions. And here will come when definitely we will get one answer, and that answer will fulfill the need, will fulfill the requirement, will fulfill the objective. Second thing, we have thought that there will be impact to the climate. If we are not able to produce the carbon methane from the hydrate reservoirs in a controlled manner, and if it goes, definitely it will have an impact because of this more greenhouse impact to the environment. But if you look into huge ocean and the ocean floor, shallow sediments, gas hydrate, if somehow they are getting dissociated, huge ocean, the study people have done that it will be dissolved into the water. There will be hardly any chance that dissociated methane will escape into the atmosphere. So it will be dissolved into that environment. Now, even during a big blowout also, this may happen. Then third important question we ask, because we have got gas hydrate into the slope basin, into slope region, even Krishna Godavari also. So if we start producing gas from the hydrate reservoir, gas hydrate is solid. So if solid will dissociate, definitely the sediments within which the gas hydrates are present, there will be weakened. There will be every chance of the collapse, every chance of the sediment or mass wasting into the downslope. So all these phenomena we have to look into. But Japan did an experiment, their engineering study, when they produce in untied rock from the gas they produce from the hydrate reservoir, they also measured this phenomena, slope stability phenomena, and they found out As long as slope is less than 4 degree, no issue. But we should not produce from high degree slope basin. Then it may have some impact to the slope instability. So these are the outcomes we presented and we had on of this. So now let's summarize everything together. So what we have done, we have established a gas hydrate dedicated center in which we have developed techniques for the identification, characterization, and assessment with quantification of the gas hydrate in a particular basin. We can do that. Number one. Number two is that when some technologies come, so there are two fronts in this I'm talking about. One is scientific fronts, by which we are doing the identification, characterization, and assessment. And other fronts, they will develop some ways, they will develop some tools by which the gas from the hydrate reservoir will be produced. So we are constantly working, we are NIOT, National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai. We are constantly giving and sharing our outcome, scientific outcome to technologists, and technologists also asking if give that input so that we can do some sort of simulation into the lab, into the analytical study into the lab. So unless we bridge between science and technology, that innovation, what we are talking hard will not come into mind. So they have to work together. So what we have to do, that we have developed some tools by which from the seismic data itself will be able to provide some critical parameter for the production. So when you say critical parameter for the production means what? Definitely one of the critical parameter that how much resources are there, that by which production will be, what are the porosity and permeability, that parameter. So we give those critical parameters for technologies. Then we have to do some laboratory study for a geology specific production, how efficiently, economically, environmentally safe. So all these things keeping in mind, we have to simulate into the lab in a controlled manner, in the help of the promoter, how fast we can dissociate the hydrate, and then how we will able to produce all sort of things we have to do. Then environmental as well as marine atmospheric environment, marine environment, what we have talked about, people are talking about, we have to also do that testing and that type of survey, that type of work into the lab as well as into the field, so that at the end when we start producing, it will not have any impact to the environment. And the countries who have made some progress into the test production, like USA, Japan, China, Canada, we should definitely collaborate. Without collaboration, it will not work. Collaboration is also some sort of 1 plus 1 equal 11. I will not be able to do that for our silo will not be able to do that. And then I have told that KG is the most promising basin of the occurrences of the gas hydrate. One of the locations, just like they have test produced 4 countries, we also have to do some test production from our KG basin. In our entire country offshore, only the Krishna Godavari basin is most suited, but we should have one test production site. And then ultimately, what we have to do, if we really succeed in producing gas from the gas hydrate, the goal of bridging India's energy transition from the coal oil to more sustainable gas-based resources is possible by our country. And we are having huge potential, and to make the country self-sustainable, reliable, affordable, and economically also affordable. When we say that economically viable, we'll be able to make it. And in that direction, gas hydrates seem to be most promising energy potential of our country. But definitely one source we should not depend on. Parallelly, we should also work with the sources, even if small also, at the end it can give me big form of energy requirement, sustainable requirement, as well as that environmental issues, the climate mitigation issues, all can be addressed by one form of energy resource, that is gas electricity. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much, sir. Wonderful. It has a potential, it has a lot of challenges, and then, okay, there is one saying in Telugu, Kadedi Kavati Kanakam. So you have to tap anything. You cannot leave any stone unturned. And this is one such very high, huge potential, Krishna Godavari Basin. And let's hope today's session, now that we are behind the schedule, maybe just one important question if there is any. I have seen, no. Okay, maybe during the lunchtime we'll interact, and then I think it's time to join your hands to appreciate this wonderful talk and then wonderful. This session has been very exciting, very nice, and we had a lot of windows open, lot of tentacles opened up, and the only need is to think forward, how to take the country forward. And yesterday itself we have spoken about we need 1.5 Earths. Other countries are going to the moon and owning the moon. Probably we don't require to do that right now, although we are not behind the technology. We are not wanting to be greedy. As I told the Tataji said that we have to have a happy country. Even to have a happy country, we need energy security and food security and a clean environment. And that's all in your hand. All of us have aged, and you're all the people, your bridges, right bridges, probably the right time. And I would appreciate our Vice Chancellor sir for making this targeted audience, research scholars. So you are the right people to take the thing forward. You are a bridge between the students whom you have to groom, and you are the people to provide the ideas for the research labs and probably to all the challenges that have been produced and given. And a lot of information has been thrown. One thing I noticed is that at the time of registration, they give a notebook. My notebook is almost full. I don't need to really write down so much and keep it. I don't have any assignment. But I don't see people taking a pen and a paper and noting down something. This is what I'm noticing in these colleges also. Possibly, if you are the research scholarship tomorrow, you're going to be a teacher, and if you sit in a seminar hall without a pen and a paper, the students also will be like that. I'm watching in Narsapur Wiring College. When I call senior people, I call people like Shah director and some of our dignitaries who are here, they'll be there. Whenever they visit Narsapur, I make it a point that they come to our college also. And I see the students coming without the pen and a paper, I feel very bad about it. But then this culture is your mobile culture, right? So most probably that's allowed for the people, big people and all. But when you are registered as a participant and you're given a pen and a paper, at least you will have something to go back and then have a look at here and there. So this is my observation. I'm very sorry. I'm just feeling like one of the family members and then just sharing with you. And with these few words and remarks, kindly go back and then coolly sit down. See, when I close my eyes after seeing Bahubali, the Bahubali scenes keep coming in my mind, right? So that's the kind of mind we have. And today, at least yesterday night and today morning, what I was thinking is that yesterday, what all the people have spoken and various new information that has come to me. Today, of course, this is one new information which I learned. And so many things are there. So these things will be there. But unfortunately, we are aging. Our brains are not as sharp as your brains are. Maybe you can retain it for a longer time. So I would want each of the half an hour, 1 hour lecture here is a topic for 2-3 days of workshop and a brainstorming session. That's reality. Am I agreeing? Yeah. So, and you are also diversified. So each one of you may be connected to only one half an hour or 1 hour. In that area, you can probably continue to do whatever activity you're doing in your college or wherever place you're doing. But the others are all income. This is for cross-linking. Ultimately, it's an information web we have to have, and then interdisciplinary action and the connections you have here. Just one person asked Harinarayan sir about how to go over the project, and another person might be wanting to know this entire band of people in the first 2 rows are the resource persons who have got a lot of information in their mind and their connections and contacts. So make use of those connections. Try to build more and more contacts to go forward for your internships or your research, multidisciplinary research, or to educate more children and probably take things to the society. Research from the lab to the society, ultimately in the transformation. That's what been told. And I'm very happy that I have been fortunate to listen to 3 great experts. And now in the afternoon, we are going to listen to two big vice chancellors. And one of the vice chancellors is also again a nostalgic feeling for me. He's a product of Kalpakkam, I can say, because he was there when he was doing his IIT course. He was in Kalpakkam, and we were interacting with him. And so I'm very eager to listen in the afternoon. So we'll break for lunch now, and probably the time to come back here, sir. Organizers should tell 2 o'clock is the time. Hopefully by the time we. Yes, sir. Yeah. So thank you very much for and you announce. And so I think we'll again give a big hand to our Karajan science, sir. And thank you very much.
Yeah. I think it's time to felicitate the chairman, Subbarao Garu, for this. Yesterday, you visited the inaugural session. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, please come on to the dais and felicitate Arvind Subbarao. Thank you, sir. Now, all are requested to join for lunch. And immediately, 2 o'clock, next session will start. Okay? Thank you.